and international spokesmodel, dream model, royal top model, casual wear modeling. Her outstanding performance also earned multiple scholarships recognizing her excellence in leadership, communication, and personal development. Beyond the pageant stage, McKenna is a passionate advocate for service and education. Having completed more than 400 volunteer hours, she was awarded the prestigious Golden Service Award by Delta Sigma Kappa for every exceptional commitment to community engagement. Her volunteer efforts support homeless veterans, survivors of domestic violence, seniors, foster youth, and individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities throughout Georgia. McKenna is also the founder of Just Look Around, a youth-led initiative established in 2024 that promotes science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, known as STEAM education, through volunteerism, creativity, leadership, and community connection. Through this initiative, she empowers young people to discover their strengths, explore future careers, and become active contributors in their communities. Her leadership and impact have been recognized across the state. Senator Kay Kirkpatrick sponsored a Georgia Senate resolution honoring McKenna and the work of Just Look Around during the 2026 legislative session. She was also named Winner of the Week by host Deron Johnson of the Georgia Gang, Atlanta longest-running public affairs television program. An accomplished student, McKenna earned first place in the Georgia Science and Technology competition for 3D modeling design and first place in Georgia 4-H District Project Achievement. She is a Georgia statewide chorus participant, a merit honor roll student, a competitive swimmer, golfer, pianist, and an active member of Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta. She also modeled during New York Fashion Week and continues to use media and public speaking platforms to inspire youth leadership educational achievement. Today, we celebrate not only McKenna's remarkable accomplishments, but also her unwavering commitment to service, education, leadership, and empowering others. She represents the very best of Georgia's future, and we look forward to the many ways she will continue to make a positive impact in our communities and beyond. Please join me in recognizing and congratulating Royal International Miss International Preteen 2025-26, Miss McKenna Kirsten Basket.
Hello, I'm McKenna Basket, and I'm the Royal International Miss Preteen, and today I'm going to be delivering a speech called Respect. I owe my dad a thank you. We all do, because he is a U.S. Army officer. Being a military kid isn't easy, but I have respect for his work. Respect, he taught me, is one of the Army's core values, so I'm here to make you respect's newest recruits. First things first, if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. One of the best ways to be respectable is to be kind. That's because the way we treat others has real consequences, and not just in the Army. One study found that 80% of people felt disrespected at work. In this world, everyone, regardless of race, gender, class, ability, or religion, deserves dignity. Ways we can show communities respect is by meeting their unique needs. The homeless deserve shelter. Those with disabilities deserve accessibility, and everyone deserves inclusion. Even though I can't fight with my dad in the Army, I can fight for what he believes in. So don't forget, RESPECT. Now that I think about it, respect isn't just a military thing. It's a human one. In fact, all we need is a little bit of respect. Thank you.
and she literally is only 12. I mean, these young people are dynamic. This next recognition is very important to me because I am a professional school counselor, and I was recognized in my school as a ramp school in 2020. I would prefer to just get a doctorate than to go through that process. That's how tedious it is. No, Daddy, I'm not going back to get my doctorate. Do not put that in the tape. It is my privilege and honor to recognize recipients of one of the highest distinctions award to professional school counseling programs. The American School Counselor Association recognized Model RAMP program, ASCA Model Program, RAMP designation. The RAMP designation honors schools that are committed to delivering comprehensive data-informed school counseling programs that support student achievement, promote student well-being, and create exceptional education environments. This year, 208 schools across 34 states earned this prestigious recognition. Since its inception, more than 22 years ago, more than 1,600 schools nationwide have achieved RAMP status. In Georgia, only 12 schools received the distinction in 2026, making this accomplishment especially noteworthy. Today, we are proud to celebrate 2 Atlanta public schools that have earned their distinguished honor. First, congratulations to Humphreys Elementary School, which earned RAMP designation for the very first time. This achievement is especially remarkable because it was accomplished by the school's sole professional school counselor, Rachel Gowan. Humphreys Elementary, which is also in District 6, our district, has also made history as the first elementary school in Atlanta Public Schools to earn RAMP designation under the leadership of a single counselor. We commend Rachel for her outstanding leadership and dedication to advancing comprehensive school counseling services for students. We also proudly recognize Sutton Middle School, which successfully achieved RERAMP designation, demonstrating its continued commitment to excellence in school counseling. This accomplishment reflects the dedication, collaboration, and professionalism of its outstanding professional team. Mara Panier, who is also retiring this year after a distinguished career of service to students and families, Tricia Slaughter, and Chanel Joseph Unwasu. As ASCA Executive Director Jill Cook stated, these schools use data to drive their program development and implementation so all students can achieve success. The RAMP designation is a symbol of excellence, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to students. Please join me in congratulating counselors, administrators, staff, students, and families of Humphreys Elementary School and Sutton Middle School for this extraordinary accomplishment. Your dedication continues to elevate the profession of school counseling and positively impacts the lives of students every day. Congratulations to our 2026 RAMP honorees and RERAMP. Thank you. Okay. Student Advisory Council delegates for 2026-27. This evening, we would like to recognize the delegates selected to serve on the Student Advisory Council for the 2026-27 school year. Our Student Advisory Council plays a vital role in shaping work of Atlanta Public Schools throughout the year. Council members join us at Atlanta Board of Education meetings, bringing thoughtful insight, diverse perspectives, and a deep commitment to enhancing the student experience across our district. Their contributions help inform our decision-making and ensure that students' voices remain at the center of our work. They ask really hard and true questions. These are some very dynamic students. I am pleased to announce the following Student Advisory Council delegates for the 2026-2027 school year. Atlanta Classical Academy, Abigail Edwayo and Owen Wingfield. Atlanta Virtual Academy, Nala Cobb. Best Academy, Edmund Richardson II and Jaden Simmons. Carver Early College, Caden Witchett and Craig Collier. Carver Steam, Kai Ellery and Jafari West. Coretta Scott King YWLA, Naomi Spears and Anissa Baker. Kip Atlanta Collegiate, Zanaya Greer and Ariana Roach. Maynard Jackson High, Gwen Montgomery and Haley Irving. Mays High School, Langston Howard and Brandell Davis. Midtown High, Derek Mitchell and Addison Carroll. North Atlanta High School, John Henry Collins and Mia Yu. South Atlanta High, Dennis Leslie and Saria Johnson. Darrell High, Shania Manning and Heaven Jordan. Washington High, Nicole Golding and Amarushoku Harris. Thank you for your leadership, your voice, and your willingness to represent your peers with excellence. We look forward to working alongside you during the upcoming school year. Please join us in congratulating these outstanding student leaders. If any Student Advisory Council delegates are present this evening, we invite you to come forward for a group photo. Okay. Good. They were going to ask hard questions, but we gave them their recognition. Moving on. Employee recognition. I can't read this right. Am I supposed to say my name? Oh, okay, I got it. For our second recognition, our next recognition this evening, we would like to take a moment to recognize APS warehouse teams and facilities information technology as APS REACH honorees. REACH stands for Recognizing Excellence, Achievement, Commitment, and Hard Work across Atlanta Public Schools. These dedicated professionals work behind the scenes to ensure our schools have the supplies, materials, equipment, and technology needed to support teaching and learning every day. Whether managing large-scale deliveries, maintaining inventory, or responding to urgent requests, their efforts help our schools operating efficiently and effectively. While their work is often unseen, its impact is felt in every classroom across our district. Their reliability, responsiveness, and unwavering commitment to service make a meaningful difference for our students and staff. Please join me in celebrating and thanking our APS warehouse teams for their outstanding service and dedication to Atlanta Public Schools. At this time, we invite all warehouse team members present this evening to come forward to be recognized and participate in a group photo. This is it. I got one more. Not her, one more. One more. Ooh. I wanted to make sure I had your attention. Okay. In honor of Pride Month 2026, I would like to take a moment to pay homage to transgender youth and transgender people whose lives were tragically lost to violence and hate across our nation during 25-26. Pride Month is a time of celebration, visibility, community. It is also a time for remembrance and reflection. As communities around the world gather for Pride events, including the vibrant month celebration across the world, we are reminded that Pride is not only about joy, but also about the ongoing work of creating a safer and more inclusive world. The importance of Pride Month lies in its power to educate, inspire, and empower educators, families, community leaders, and allies. All play a pivotal role in affirming that every student belongs, is respected, and is welcome. Every child deserves the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive without fear of discrimination, bullying, or violence. Today, I pay homage to the memories of Juniper Blessings, 19, a transgender university student and weather enthusiast whose life was cut short by violence. Shayelle Diamond Sanchez McCray, reported as the first anti-transgender violent death of 2026. Luis Jackson Nanez Lopez, 15, whose life was taken in Kentucky in 2025. Sam Nordquist, 24, a Black transgender man from Minnesota who endured a horrific act of violence before his death in 2025. These individuals were more than headlines. They were people with dreams, talents, families, and futures. Their lives matter, and their memories deserve our respect. The tragic and brutal violence experienced by transgender youth and adults remind us that we must remain vigilant in protecting all children and all members of the communities. Every young person deserves a feel safe, valued, and supported, regardless of their gender, identity, race, background, or circumstances. As we observe Pride Month 2026, let us recommit ourselves to compassion, understanding, and respect. This is one reason why we need more school counselors, school social workers, school psychologists, and other professionals who support the social and emotional learning of our students. These dedicated educators and mental health professionals help create safe, welcoming environments where young people can be heard, supported, and connected to the resources they need. Their work promotes empathy, belonging, resilience, and respect for others, values that strengthen not only individual students, but entire school communities. When students feel seen, valued, and supported, they are better able to learn, grow, and succeed. Investing in student well-being is not separate from education. It is an essential part of education. As we work to protect our children from violence, bullying, discrimination, and isolation, we must also ensure that schools have the staff and resources necessary to meet students' social, emotional, and mental health needs. Let us create school neighborhoods and communities where every child knows they are welcome, where differences are celebrated, and where dignity and humanity are extended to all. May we honor those who we have lost, not only with our words, but through our actions, by building a future where every child can live safely, authentically, and with hope. For the next 10 seconds, anyone that has lost or knows someone that you have lost due to violence because of their gender, sex, orientation, please stand with me. You are seen, you are heard. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to turn the floor
Madam
over.
Chair, this concludes our, this was on your paper, I didn't put it on here. Madam Chair, this concludes our recognitions for the evening.
Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Johnson for our second and final budget hearing.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we'll commence our final budget hearing. Mr. Brian Stevens standing in for Dr. Bracken. If you'll come forward just to give a brief update on budget, then we'll turn to the hearing.
Good evening, Board Chair Johnson, Vice Chair Zeff, Superintendent Johnson, and other members of the board. I'm here to present a brief recap of the FY27 budget. It's been a long process. We're going to get the slide up. There you go. Thank you. So I want to do a brief recap just to highlight some areas of the budget for FY27. As you can see here, $37 million invested in curriculum, literacy, and programs. That's our accelerated literacy model, the K-12 curriculum refresh, middle school literacy intervention. We are also investing $10 million in new money for exceptional education, $19 million in new staff compensation. That is step increases and a 1% cost of living adjustment. So that means most of our employees will see about a 2.5% increase. And lastly, but not least, we will be returning $10 million to the taxpayers. I'm going to say that again. The Atlanta Board of Education is lowering the millage rate from 20.5 mills to 20.3 mills, which is returning $10 million to the public.
Oh, thank you so much. I was still celebrating. Mr. Wilburn, let's proceed with the final budget hearing.
Our first three speakers are David Guy, Elaine Hudson, and Loretta Baldwin. Would you all please come in that order?
I'm sorry, I signed up for the wrong budget, so I'll be the public comment for the other section. Thank you. Same with the-
Elaine Hudson, and then Miss Loretta Baldwin.
I meant to sign up for the other public comment section.
We're making note. Anyone else, if you need to sign up for the other public comment, we make sure you see Mr. Keith Glass over here so we can capture that
They
information.
signed up.
Oh, they're on both. Thank you so much. Loretta.
Hi, my name is Loretta Baldwin.
Stop the timer. Stop the timer.
Oh, my time has started. Good afternoon. I have to say, it feels a lot less stressful standing at this podium than sitting behind the dais. Today, I get 2 minutes to share my thoughts, and you all get the opportunity to figure it out. While I no longer have a vote, as a longtime West Side resident, taxpayer, and former board member, I certainly have a stake in the outcome. I've had the opportunity to see this issue, speaking about TADS, from multiple perspectives. As a former colleague, I understand APS's desire to realize the benefit of a tax base it has helped support for decades. I have also served on the Beltline Affordable Housing Advisory Board and have had the opportunity to see firsthand, and in addition to the board, how community organizations, philanthropic partners, and public-private collaborations can help residents maintain home ownership, build wealth, access down payment assistance, make critical home repairs, and remain in communities experiencing rapid change. What I've learned is that this is not a simple debate between schools and development. We need both. Development is necessary, investment is necessary. My concern is that investment can move faster than protections for legacy residents. The question before us is not whether development occurs. The question is whether it occurs in a way that is equitable and just. How do we ensure that people who remained through decades of disinvestment are able to stay and benefit when investment finally arrives? I encourage APS, the city, Fulton County, and community stakeholders to continue working together to find a true win-win. Strong schools and strong neighborhoods are not competing priorities. They depend on one another. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Terry Walker, Jordan Christian, and Akeem Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Terry Walker. My child will be attending APS starting next year. She will be going to Midtown School. And I just have two questions. My first question is, I've been here since 3 o'clock, so I was in your earlier meeting. And I heard the gentleman talk about rollbacks on technology in the classrooms, which I understand. And my daughter coming from a private school, I got to see firsthand I got to see what technology does in the classroom in the positive form. My daughter, her school, they make them do PowerPoint presentations during parent-teacher conferences in order to show what they have actually learned. And it was amazing seeing my 12-year-old not only knowing she put this together, but display it to me. And then they had a whole nother forum where it was the Grandparents and Special Friends Day, where they actually do physical presentations with the things that they wrote, with pictures and bulletin points and all of that. They have stations where you go over to the station and they have to repeat this to each and everybody that comes to their station. So I feel like there is a healthy balance between technology and books, because they're going into a world where they have to have knowledge of technology. So just rolling back because, you know, we're older and we like, well, you need more books and need to push. We need less technology. I think that we can, you know, it would be great for us to go and look at these private schools and kind of see how they do it. And I know we don't have the funding they have, but we can come up with innovative ways to do that. And then my next thing that I wanted to state was about the TADS. When I looked and saw everybody talking about the TADS, I see that we have initiatives for a whole bunch of different technologies. Why aren't we using our partnerships with the nonprofits you guys have to allocate funds from these large corporations and not really looking into it further?
Thank you, you two. Thank you. Jordan Christian and Akeem Williams.
I apologize. I meant to sign up for the other one, so.
Wait, who was he? Akeem Williams.
How y'all doing? So I wanted to speak today about the master facilities plan in regards to closing Dunbar Elementary School. I have a close relative who recently enrolled into that school and completed their first year, and the amount of progress she received and support she received in special education, it was tremendous. She went from being like super nonverbal to now she's speaking a lot more. She's able to control her emotions a lot more. And if you all do go forward with the closure of that school, I would ask that you just don't place students on maps and buzz people around, but also provide that same level of support and compassion. I remember I reached out in the beginning of the year to Ann Durden in special needs, and from there she helped the parent, and the parent was advocating throughout the year. And it was a whole special process. I do know the stigmas that come along with APS, but also being able to say that that doesn't happen all the time. Also, in regards to the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative, I do say that you all support that plan with the TADS, but also make sure that you're looking at the most vulnerable population when it comes to the students, when it comes to the social economics that they do see from outside of the schools that plays into the schools. How can a child who hasn't had a hot meal last night or a warm place to sleep really worry about learning in the school district? So we want to make sure that we're not going to move people out or move people to South Fulton or, you know, Stockbridge or down 75. We want to keep people in their communities and keep them whole from that whole child approach while going back to the basics. I know it's been a while since I've been here, and I just want to say that I want to see progress. I know sometimes it's a lot going on, but at the same time, we must make sure that we're looking out for the most vulnerable and holding the charter to what it is supposed to do. Thank y'all.
Our next three speakers are Adam Sergai, Daisy Lutzen, and David Mitchell. Please come in that order.
You said Adam Sugrue, correct? S-U-G-R-U-E?
Yes, yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the Hope Hill Elementary School and our school's community. We're located in APS District 1 in the Old Fourth Ward neighborhood, the third largest in the city of Atlanta, just steps from Ebenezer Baptist Church and MLK's childhood home. I'm proud to be here on behalf of my community today, but I'm here to talk about some significant concerns we have as part of our facilities. The 2024 Facility Condition Assessment and the Educational Sustainability Assessment, Hope Hill had the 6th lowest facility score, the lowest in Educational Sustainability score, and the lowest combined FCA ESA score. I'm going to save some more specifics for my comments in the general period because I signed up for both and I meant to. But suffice to say, we have classrooms with leaking roofs, and we have rooms with flooring so warped it's not usable. it negatively impacts our school. 40% of the students zoned for our school choose a different school. And since this is part of the budget hearing, we've raised these concerns as part of the facility planning process. And we were told, no, we're not consolidating any schools or unifying dual campus schools. So you have to be part of the EAST process. Well, I've looked at the EAST process and I didn't see anything about Hope Hill, so I don't know where that stands, but I'm just going to have a simple ask for the board. When you consider your budget, don't forget about Hope Hill. Thank you.
Daisy Olutzen and David Mitchell.
Get it right. It's Dadisi Olutosin. So just to help out. But I'm actually not up here for this comment. I signed up for the other one as well. So forgive me. But I do want to say something, though. I'm here representing the 100 Black Men of Atlanta. I'm the Public Policy Committee Chair. I do a tremendous amount of work in the Douglas Cluster. And so my concerns are primarily about the Douglas Cluster and how decisions that are being made as it relates to the TAD and other things that are happening in the Douglas Cluster are being addressed by the school board and by the school system. I work in Frederick Douglass as a volunteer. I mentor there. There are lots of issues that are impacting 30318. And so my bigger concerns has to do with, as it relates to education, the safety of students in schools. My other issues have to do with the cuts that have happened to some of the staff and people that the community has relied on in terms of who we work with within Frederick Douglass High School, who will no longer be there this upcoming school year. So those are my initial thoughts, and I'll come back with more next round. Thank you.
David Mitchell, Mandy Lane, and Kimberly Brooks.
I think there's a little bit of confusion because I also signed up for the other one, but I'm going to go ahead and give my comments here if that's okay. Okay, thank you. My name is David Mitchell. I live in the Summerhill community. I was born in Edgewood, was raised in Southwest Atlanta, and I currently live in Summerhill. So I understand the fabric of this community and how it's changed as a city. I'm also an APS graduate, West Manor, Southwest, which is now Jean Charles Young, and Mays High School. I am a firm believer, coming from a community like Summerhill, where we have watched the type of development that has come over in that community and how it changes the fabric of what our opportunities and access is without changing the fabric of a community needs to happen everywhere. I will be remiss if I didn't tell you that 60% of a child's success happens in the classroom. The other 40% happens where they live. You know, we have a problem in APS. We have kids that go to multiple schools during the year because of their housing insecurity. The TAG will actually change. I don't know if you can learn math and science when you've gone to 2 different schools in a year. And so we've got to be able to put ourselves in a position where we put all of our cards on the table if we want to build a healthy and whole city. And that means that this board has to look at the mayor's plans for NRI, tax allocation districts, and be, I think, thoughtful about your role in playing a part in it. You say you love Atlanta, you say you love our kids, if you say you love our students in our community, you have to have some skin in the game. And I think what you're doing here is some of the most important work that we have. But I think it cannot be fully completed and fully successful without building healthy and whole communities. And that is the plan for the tax allocation districts and NRI. And I'd love to see this body come together, shut your doors, check all of the other things that may be distractions, and focus on the communities that need your help. And so I want to tell you, I want to see you guys support NRI and tax allocation districts. Thank you.
I want to first start off by thanking you for allocating an additional $10 million towards, sorry, can you hear me? Yeah. I want to thank you for allocating an additional $10 million towards special education. I appreciate this especially because we have been waiting for full IDA funding from the federal government for a good 50 years. I don't think we should continue holding our breath, and I'm glad Atlanta Public Schools chose not to. My concern about the budget going forward is how will the tax allocation district affect our projections into the future? This $10 million is good, but if we have to then start to cut it 5 years or 10 years down the future, down the road, then what does that mean? What does that mean about how we make our long-term plans if we don't know if we will continue to be able to put 10 million in? So I want us to, when we plan whether to participate in a TAD, whether to participate in each individual TAD, because there are several, how that will affect not only the special education budget, our millage rate, and all these other important factors in the budget you've put together, which I think generally reflects our priorities very well.
Good afternoon. My name is Kimberly Brooks. I am a former student of Benton Elementary School, Perkinson Elementary School, King Middle School, Maynard Jackson, Southside High School, Frederick Douglass High School. And I stand here today. Nate, I'm going to use your information that I have on this thing here. So 16 schools are being closed in all black neighborhoods. APS targets these schools by 2040 for 16 schools. You renovated Stanton for $22 million, then you closed it. $147 million for North Atlanta, nothing for black neighborhoods. You spent $147 million to expand other schools, nothing in black neighborhoods. So I stand before you today because I've said over and over again that your petition to close schools is falsely given by data, because I've done the research and people have done it themselves, but you use the research that you want to use. So you're not counting when school enrollment matters. You're not counting black children. You're not counting kids in Kendesi. You're not counting kids in KIPP. You're not counting kids under contract. And you're taking schools out of black communities and you're selling those schools to developers. We have enough money for all of our children to be successful. We have the resources, but you don't want to spend it on resources. You want to sell the land and the property through the tax allocation district, which money you have kept in a pocket of all of the false competition you have from all of the real estate investments that you've had. Instead of putting that money back into those communities, you want those communities that you have set on fire to come and ask you for water to put it out. And that's not how that works. So I disagree with the TAD to the fullest extent that a human being can ever disagree with it. I also disagree with the closure of those schools until every single kid in the city of Atlanta is accounted for. You haven't counted all the kids in Atlanta to close any schools. You have not counted them all. There are kids in the juvenile justice system. There are kids that are homeless. There are kids in charter schools. And you're going to close the schools because of low enrollment due to a metric that you created. So I'm going to be against the TAD. I need it exhausted and ended. And Atlanta Public Schools need to serve all kids in every community. Thank you.
Our last three speakers are Rakisha Howell, Sherry Williams, and Nathaniel Dyer. If you would please come in that particular order.
Hey y'all, so I'm just gonna start here. Let me just start by saying with the budget, all we need y'all to do is defund the charters. Bring that money back into the public schools and fully fund the public schools. Now, when it comes to the TADs, my God, today, where everybody been at? Where everybody been at when these kids have been displaced and y'all set up here and y'all close these schools? Y'all voted to close the school. This ain't the first go around. Y'all did this in the past. Some of y'all are still here. We got new people here, but we gonna hold your feet to the fire as well. We told y'all what we capable of doing. The last board meeting, we are very clear that we want these charter schools defunded. And we want that money to go back into our public, our community schools. Mr. Johnson, get with these folks and have another meeting. There are babies all over this city. Like Kim just said, they are not accounted for. I just got a baby that I just put in school for my own family. So you might want to go look at that list and keep all those schools open. It's too much money flowing through here. It's too much development for y'all to close our schools. We have said this before. We will vote y'all all out. I love helping people find a new job. I have no problem with that. We are tired of playing about our children. We're tired of coming down here and asking. Y'all know I don't come down here because I bless you all on social media. And I'll make sure you never work anywhere else, because if our baby's not succeeding, why the hell are y'all pockets getting fat?
Hello, I'm Sherry B. Williams with Ed Advocates ATL. We're supported by more than 20 organizations that believe equity in education, as our communities do. We have several concerns about the $1 billion+ budget. We hear lots of rhetoric every year when it's time to do the annual budget. But we still see great inequities in what's going on between the north and south sides of I-20. How long will it take to actually see that gap closing? It's the tale of two school districts, yet all kids can learn. Why aren't they? Why are the schools on the south side failing? It's unacceptable that you continue to say we spend 2 to 3 times more per student on the south side than on the north side. Show me the money. We have been asking for more than a decade, almost 2, for the itemized per pupil expenditure. Well, I want you to do whatever it takes to make sure that our kids learn, regardless of the cost. Also, what are you doing with the state funds that are supposed to help decrease absenteeism? According to you, Mr. Superintendent, the absenteeism rate on the south side is 30%. That is mainly because of transportation. In APS Forward 2040, it makes no sense to take the 85% of kids that walk to Dunbar and the 55% that walk to Continental Colony and put them on a school bus that might not arrive. There is a national and local shortage of school bus drivers. We appreciate you giving teachers an 11% salary increase, but did you give the school bus drivers a raise? Are you doing the proper maintenance on the bus? The buses sometimes don't even show up. We're getting into good trouble because we want to help our kids. We don't just say we care about our kids, we do care about our kids. That's why we're here today. Thank you. We want to see the money.
Nathaniel Dyer, federal case 1:26-CV-01284-MHC. That's the federal injunction to stop the school closures. Your leadership has created a public finance failure on beautiful black boys and girls. I'm gonna break it down for you. TAS 2025, a total of $8,879,000,000. Annually, that's about $44 million over 20 years. That's $19 million more than what you claim to be saving off of closing 16 schools in the black communities. The TAD is not the only injury. You have commercial underassessments, appeals, 15-year estimate, $825 million. APS own budget material says that, hey, if they were assessed properly, that would be $55 million more. Look at 12 to 15 years, $660 million to $825 million. You're leaving money on the table. Combined TAD, APS drain, with the underassessments is about $1.5 to $1.7 million that you all are leaving on the table. But who catches the brunt? Our beautiful black boys and girls. And then you have the notion to wonder how the TAD's impacting the community. You close schools. Now you got the clown mayor and Courtney English, who's a former board member, and LaShonda Burks, who's in the same office, who closed schools, trying to convince you to add more 30 years to the coffers. How much of a buffoon can you be? Do black boys and girls matter to you? Don't you know they exist in this school system? You know, you talk about the literacy rates being below 30%. Well, you know, when you close schools, what do you expect to happen? What do you expect to happen? Well, we're going to fight on. There's an injunction in federal court, and I'll say this, you know, I'll come back with the solutions. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, this concludes the final budget hearing. Public comment.
Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Johnson.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, and we appreciate the budget hearing comments. Now we'll pivot to a conversation around the open community meeting, but a conversation as well around tax allocation districts. And as we start that, I think it'd be good to kind of level set. So I'm going to ask Ms. Bonnie Lapwood to come up, and she'll go through just a few slides to level set around tax allocation districts. I'll follow up with considerations, and then we'll maybe turn to Board Member Brooks and as well as Chair to speak to policy around that that's being considered by the board. So at this time, we'll turn to Bonnie.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Johnson. Good evening, Board Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and community members. Thank you for your time tonight. I was before you this afternoon with some slides about the Tax Allocation District Investment Review Committee. This is intended as a recap and some general information about the tax allocation districts. This diagram shows the concept behind a tax allocation district. In the beginning year, the value of the properties in the area is frozen. And as time goes on, any increase in that value, which is called increment or growth, is directed towards funding redevelopment, which in turn should increase the value further, until eventually, in this diagram, after a period of 25 years, the district is closed and all of the revenue that has been increasing over time is returned to the taxing jurisdictions. This is a map showing 10 TADs throughout the city. It does show in the pink towards the southwest Princeton Lakes, which APS did not participate in. The rest of the districts shown have had APS participation. There have been 10 districts created in Atlanta since 1992. APS began participating in 1999 with the West Side TAD and has participated in 9 TADs of the 10. One of those, Atlantic Station, closed last year, and its revenue has come back to APS. APS continues to participate in 8 of the TADs, and that participation is governed by intergovernmental agreements with the city, Invest Atlanta, and the Beltline. Part of those agreements include annual payments in lieu of taxes, also known as pilots, and another part of those agreements has been proposed community benefits, which the committee that we discussed earlier today would be reviewing and evaluating. This summary shows each of the 9 TADs, the first year they were in effect, the year that APS began contributing, what APS has contributed through the end of last fiscal year, the total of those annual payments in lieu of taxes that APS has received, as well as, in the case of Atlantic Station, revenue that has come back to APS. There's also some information here about previous extensions. The West Side TAD, Perry Bolton TAD, and Atlantic Station TAD were previously extended. I do want to note here, just responding to a question from earlier, the contribution and the pilots are mutually exclusive numbers. The contribution here is the taxes that have been collected in the area minus those pilots. This is an example of a tax bill received by a homeowner in the Perry Bolton TAD. When a homeowner in Atlanta gets a tax bill, they see that the Atlanta schools portion is the largest portion of their taxes due. The only indication they have that some of those taxes are being directed into a TAD to fund redevelopment is the district that's listed on the tax bill. This example is from the Perry Bolton TAD. It is now about 89% increment or growth. So that is, when the taxes are collected, that is the percentage that goes to Invest Atlanta. APS continues to receive the same amount it was receiving in the base year. There was a question earlier about other TADs. The amount that is increment depends on how much each has grown. For example, the Beltline property values have increased 685%, so it is now 87% increment. And I will turn it back to you, Dr. J.
Thank you, Bonnie. Just a few things here that are considerations. Obviously, there's a structural deficit that we've been working through, and there's uncertainty around revenue. Things like property taxes were a pretty consistent point of conversation this legislative cycle. There's also this reality that we want to fund our strategic priorities. And so, you know, as this is taken into consideration, we've talked about universal pre-K, making sure that we get to a $100,000 average salary for our teachers and continue to invest in our classified staff is of the utmost importance. I know Board Member Brooks will speak to this a little bit, but the establishment of the TAD IRC, which will assist with accountability. I know there were several areas in the IGA from the last cycle that were that have been challenging. Everything from developer fees, supposed to be $25,000 for every developer that developed a property within a TAD that you know I know has not been executed on. The city fully acknowledges, as well as things like you know, affordable housing for teachers, and so. This policy will allow us an opportunity to have a structure. So excited about the board's leadership in that space, and the work that is ahead. So you know, it's an important conversation. It's a challenging conversation. A very important conversation for the city. Very important conversation for the school district as a key investment. Key investors in this work. So, Chair, I'll turn to you. I don't want to turn to Policy Chair, but we'll turn back to you before we end.
Thank you so much, and for sharing the APS's considerations. And I just want to underscore that my colleagues and I felt like it was incredibly important for us to set aside this time in public comment to have this conversation around TAD so that we could hear from our constituents. We are in a listening posture, and I want to make sure I emphasize that no actions have been, no decisions have been made on the behalf of Atlanta Public Schools. The only action that we have taken at this point is to establish the TAD IRC that Board Member Brooks is going to speak on. And so we welcomed you all in for a respectful conversation so that we can hear and learn from the various perspectives from our community leaders. I'm turning the floor over to Shivy to go ahead and start us off with explaining what the TAD IRC is.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about this. Thank you for everybody for showing up here for the meeting. Great to see so many people from across the street be in attendance too. We are today bringing up a policy to create the TAD IRC, the Investment Review Council, which is charged to do two things. Review TADs and our return on investment for the TADs that we have been invested in for almost the last 30 years or some longer than that. And also to make sure that we have an oversight body to continue looking at the TADs that we're continue to participate in, and should there be any changes, extensions, what have you, we need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence as a board to make sure that community benefit agreements are being delivered. Most importantly for me, things that stick out like access to MARTA for our students or affordable housing for our teachers, the $25,000 fund for businesses that benefited from TADs. Those things are really important when we're coming up with these agreements. I think what's also important is making sure that as there are changes, either in our administration, our superintendent, our school board, city council, the mayor's office, that we don't come to a day 20, 15 years from now with a different mayor, different bodies, and everyone's going, well, what happened? And no one has answers. And that's the world that we've lived in. And that's the world that we're going to make sure it doesn't happen for any other board.
Thank you so much. And now I will open the floor if maybe one or two of my board colleagues would like to quickly share anything that we may have missed in kind of setting the tone for this portion of our public comment. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wanted to note that just for the public's good, this committee is also tasked with creating a report on the existing TADs by October. So our board is going to be, honestly, in a listening posture through the majority of this year, both to listen to the council and also to listen to the city. So I want to be very clear about that because there were some folks who were thinking that we were voting on something tonight or what have you because of some communique that have come out from other folks. That is not the case. We are in a listening and learning posture and will remain there and will not be moving in any kind of unnatural pace. So thank you.
Thank you, board member.
Yeah, one, thank you guys. Thank everyone for coming here today. I think that this is an extremely important conversation that we'll be having on tax allocation districts in the NRI. The one thing that I want to kind of start off level setting with is that, you know, our kids' future should not be political. And so I want us to kind of carry that as a baseline. I know that there is a lot of conversations on all sides and a lot of energy on all sides to make sure that we see reinvestment in our city, and I think that's extremely important. I think as a board, we try to listen to you guys. You know, I'm a newer board member, so, you know, I've been able to listen for a few months here, but I think, you know, when I was on the campaign trail, we talked a lot with the people that I did talk to about ways that we show up as a board and ways that we engage with community. That is why this day is so important, because we want to make sure that we're bringing your voice into the equation. To Board Chair Johnson's remarks, we are not making a decision today. This is a listening session. I'll also say that, you know, in a space where we were, the board made the decision to close schools, we want to be intentional about what happens on the backside of that. And I think that we are being thoughtful about what investments needs to happen in the communities where we decided to have school closures, but we're also having to balance just fiscal responsibility. I think anyone that is paying attention to the state level headwinds are seeing that, you know, we have a statewide political environment that may do away with property taxes. We have a legislature that has put some guardrails on what the tax base that school systems and boards can take advantage of. And as we look forward, we want to be very intentional that we don't have to Board Member Brooks's comment, this conversation in 15 years about why are we closing schools again. It's very important. So we're trying to be very intentional about that. Again, I think that we want to have a respectful conversation. I welcome, and you know, I always tell people I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm a student. I want to hear from everyone, but you know, we are trying to make a fiscally sound a decision, but also a decision that allows our city to continue to grow and flourish. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to go ahead so we can get into public comment. I just want to do share a couple of housekeeping things. We did extend public comment for 30 additional minutes for this evening. If you do not have an opportunity to share your comment within the allotted time, Mr. Keith Glass has a QR code where you can immediately share that information in the Let's Talk app, and we will all be getting that immediately following the meeting, and so you will not miss an opportunity for your perspective to be heard by the full board. Thank you so much. Mr. Wilburn, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for public comment.
Yes, Madam Chair. Good evening and welcome to the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. In just a few moments, the board will begin hearing from those who signed up to speak by 5:50 p.m. The board welcomes your comments, but before we get started, please take note of the following guidelines on how public comment is conducted. The board may elect to hear community comments in any order or sequence and is not limited by the order of the sign-up sheets. All speakers presenting highly detailed information are asked to put their comments in writing, and comment cards are available for those wishing to do so. In order to maintain meeting decorum, follow appropriate protocols, protect the confidentiality of students, and ensure impartiality, the board will not hear comments on matters involving individual students, parents, or the character, professional competence, or the physical or mental health of any individual. Also, the board will not hear public comment on personnel matters that specifically include the names or titles of employees. This includes but is not limited to contract non-renewals, position abolishment, the hiring and firing of staff, and investigative proceedings regarding allegations of misconduct. Comments regarding personnel issues should be sent in writing to Atlanta Board of Education, 130 Trinity Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30303 or via email at boardcomments@atlantapublicschools.us. Finally, in order to maintain meeting decorum and to ensure all comments can be heard by the board, applause, cheering, jeering, or speech that defames individuals or disrupts the meeting should be refrained from and may be cause for removal, adjournment of the meeting, and or suspension from attending future Atlanta Board of Education events, hearings, meetings, and other proceedings. With that said, I'd like to call the first three speakers to the microphone. We have Stephen Owens, Ralph Long, and Adam Sergar. Please come to the podium in that order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Chair Johnson and members of the board. I rise in opposition to extending the TADS. I'm Dr. Stephen Owens. I am a father of 3 children at M. Agnes Jones, Go Rams, and an education, budget, and policy analyst. I've read that supposedly Atlanta Public Schools has too much money, that our budget has doubled since 2010, and that we've gotten nothing out of it. So I wanted to do the research. Yes, the budget has doubled per child since 2010, not counting labor or cost of materials, which we also have to include. But over that time, the cost of health care for teachers has increased 770%. Our share of full-time students in special education has doubled, but there's still money there. So what did we get for that money? Hope eligibility has increased by 50%. Our ACT scores have gone up. We went from being 100 points behind the national average in the SAT to over 4 points above the national average in the SAT. We only had less than 1,000 students take AP test in 2010. 3,300 students took it last year. Over 58% of them scored 3 or above on the ACT, compared to 25% in 2011. We are not done. There is still so much to be done. Paraprofessionals only make $45,000 a year if they spend 30 years in the classroom. We have school bus drivers that need to be paid. Our food assistants need to be paid. We have to ask whether or not TADS can undo the harm that TADS have accelerated. And I thank you for your leadership on this issue. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good evening. I rise in support of the tax allocation districts. And as a parent in the Carver cluster and then the Mays cluster, I've had an up-close view of how neighborhood disinvestment follows children into the schools. The NRI is a strategic and intentional plan to direct resources towards addressing the housing instability, food insecurity, transportation deficiencies, and lack of quality jobs that make it more difficult for Atlanta's children to learn. The dividing line in our city closely mirrors the dividing line in our schools districts, and when it comes to student achievement and outcomes. The NRI will support the work of the schools districts by allowing you to focus on curriculum and instruction instead of trying to address the disinvestment and lack of economic opportunity. And, I've grown up, raised a kid in Southwest Atlanta. We all see it. We all see the difference between North and South. This is a tale of two cities. We're trying to blur that line and to have children understand what an apple is versus Doritos versus Snickers. And we've got to have healthy children so that they can learn. And I think that given the results of some of the parents who will speak today, you guys can understand that it takes a group project to actually do this work right here. So I just want to tell you thank you.
Thank you. As I mentioned during the budget hearings portion, I'm Adam Shagru, and I'm here on behalf of the Hope Hill Elementary School Foundation and the community. And I'm proud to be here. I wanted to give a little bit more detail, as I mentioned during that period. Our school has the lowest educational sustainability score and the lowest combined FSA-ESA score. Some of the issues that we have: exterior safety. Our exterior entrances don't meet APS standards. And the intersection of a boulevard and Irwin is so unsafe. Y'all, I've personally witnessed vehicles on the grass in front of the school during school hours. The recently acquired building needs upgrades to be suitable for the school's use. It took us a decade to get it. There's flooring in certain areas that's so warped it's not usable. There's leaks in the roofing in classrooms and in the HVAC system. We need more bathrooms for our growing staff. We need classroom layouts that fit the teachers and the students and what they need. We need more office space and storage to meet the needs of our staff. We need a playground that we can own and call our own, that we don't have to share with outside entities. And all this negatively impacts our school. It influences the perceptions in our community, and it undermines the confidence of the students. We need something that we can be proud of. Neglecting deteriorating facilities sends the wrong message. We deserve something we can be proud of. So again, my ask is simple. Whether it's East Blast or the facilities plan or wherever you are in the budget, don't forget about Hope Hill. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Rodney Davis, Eric Harrison, and Lola Hawk. If you would please come in that order.
Greetings. My name is Rodney Davis. I'm an interrelated special education teacher at Finch Elementary, where I have served scholars and families in the Oakland City community for the past 4 years. I am also a proud Westside community member. I am here today to express my concerns regarding the ongoing discussion about the extending of the city's Atlanta Tax Allocation Districts, or TADs, and the impact that decision could have on Atlanta Public Schools. Over the past several months, I have heard board members raise concerns that extending the TADs could divert more than $80 million annually from APS, while district leadership has projected the potential loss of more than $2 billion in future tax revenue. I've also taken the time to understand the argument that TADs can support revitalization and economic development in historically disinvested communities. However, I continue to ask, how beneficial is revitalization if it comes at the expense of adequately funding public education? If the TADs are not extended and APS regains access to these revenues, how would the district invest those funds back into the communities that have historically experienced the greatest levels of disinvestment? How would these resources support Black, brown, immigrant, and other vulnerable families? And will these funds meaningfully address the financial challenges that the board routinely discusses with staff and community members? As an educator currently working in a school impacted by consolidation and closure discussions, I have witnessed firsthand the uncertainty and concern families experience when decisions are made without a clear vision for how conditions will improve. At this time, I oppose extending the TADs. However, I also believe APS has the responsibility to clearly articulate how any recovered revenue will be invested equitably across the district. Our families deserve more than promises. They deserve transparency, accountability, and a commitment that these resources will directly benefit students and communities with the greatest needs. Thank you.
Hey y'all, thanks for allowing me to speak today. My name is Eric Harrison. Professionally, I'm a public policy analyst, but I'm not here tonight on behalf of my firm or a client. I'm here as a foster parent. The kids I care for are teenagers. I will relive the high school years with each of them for as long as I am able to and for as many as DFACS will allow me to care for. Like many of you, the Cato Institute and the Southern Poverty Law Center, I oppose extending these TADs. It's a rare coalition, and it should give this board pause. Having worked in economic development policy, I can tell you that TADs overpromise and underdeliver. They freeze tax revenues for 25 to 30 years on a bet that development will materialize while minimizing the public's ability to hold anyone accountable. If the mayor and city council want to put their tax revenues on that line, let them. Same with the county commission. But this isn't APS's lane. Economic development is not the role of the school system. It's not even a side quest. APS has one charge: to guard and prepare our most precious resource, our children. The appropriate path for APS to influence economic development is to invest in the students. With a robust education, they will become the entrepreneurs, the policypreneurs, the activists, and the change makers who redevelop neighborhoods with ideas born right here in APS classrooms. That is the only TAD worth betting on, and it doesn't jeopardize funding for future students. That is what it means to educate and empower APS students to shape the future. And while I'm up here and I have 20 seconds left, I'm a parent of a student at Frederick Douglass High School, and if it wasn't for Mr. Olatosin's wife, Mrs. Olatosin, the teacher of the year at Frederick Douglass High School, she had a profound impact on my foster daughter over her time at Frederick Douglass, and for that, I am grateful.
You heard from my husband, now you hear from me. Good evening, Superintendent and members of the board. Happy Pride Month and happy Juneteenth. I'm Laura Hawk, and as you heard from my husband, we are Astro parents. I come before you tonight to ask you not to mortgage our children's future. I will ask you to allow the Development Authority of Fulton County, the mayor, the city council, and Invest Atlanta to do their jobs, not yours. You are here to ensure our children are educated. The Development Authority and Invest Atlanta's job is to develop. The mayor and city council choose to wear many hats, but I'm grateful the superintendent has asked you all to get back to basics. Your path is clear, and I would like to publicly thank Chair Johnson, Vice Chair Zeff, board members Hutcherson, Brock, and Tony Mitchell for expressing your reservations about TADS. Going on the record can be scary, but I admire a backbone more than a wishbone any day. TADS are something on which both the Cato Institute and the Southern Poverty Law Center agree is a bad idea. I hope that board members Howard, McDonald, Brooks, and Erica Mitchell will recognize the same. APS families do not need a savior. We already know how to gather around to support folks. From where I sit, City Council and the Mayor's office could take some notes from y'all on how to care for the most vulnerable. Atlanta influences everything, and in the capital city of the Empire State of the South, we are looking for you to lead. I ask you to insist on the return of your increment as these TADs expire. And in closing, I urge this board to stay focused on your vital mission, educating our children. Please resist pressure to divert your attention or resources toward developments that do not directly serve students' best interests. Let the other entities handle development. Your role is to champion our children's futures. Thank you for your courage in speaking truth to power and for your commitment to the students of Atlanta Public Schools. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Marjorie Lofton, Aretta Baldwin, and Mamie Moore. Would you kindly come in that order?
Good afternoon, good evening, members of the board. I am Marjorie Lofton. I am with Georgia Federation of Public Service Employees. Earlier this evening, we were proud to join APS in saluting the work of our warehouse IT professionals. We are a better district because of the work that they do. Thank you, Superintendent Johnson, Board Chair Jessica Johnson, and board members Ken Zeff and Chevy Brooks for joining us and other community leaders at City Hall in recognizing our Principal of the Year, Miss Melissa St. Joy at Hutchinson, and our Teacher of the Year, Miss Kenya Tucker at Carver Early College, and our Counselor of the Year, Miss Shanice Askew at Beecher Elementary. Until you really address the issue of KIPS saturation in APS, we will continue to have school closures. And to add insult to injury, many of the KIPS schools are underperforming our APS schools. Lastly, we urge the board to study the TAD question closely. All that glitters is not gold. Be well and do good.
Aretta Baldwin. Mm-hmm.
I'm back. I have to admit, one of the benefits of no longer serving on the board is that I get to come to the microphone, offer my opinion, and then go home. You all still have to make the tough decisions. While I don't envy that responsibility, I do appreciate the opportunity to share a perspective as someone who will be affected by the outcome. Over the past several months, I have spent time listening to longtime West Side residents share their stories and experiences. What I hear is a deep love for their neighborhoods. I hear pride in the communities they helped build, the schools their children attended, the churches they worshiped in, and the relationships that have sustained them through decades of change. I also hear a common question: will we still be here to enjoy the benefits of the investments now coming into our communities? As these conversations continue, I hope we remember that this is not simply a decision or a discussion about budgets, tax districts, or development strategies. It is also a discussion about people. Behind every policy decision are students, families, homeowners, renters, seniors, and legacy residents who want the opportunity not just to witness change, but to participate in it. My hope is that we continue seeking solutions that strengthen our schools, invest in our neighborhoods, and create pathways for the people who have sustained these communities to remain and thrive. Growth should not happen to communities, it should happen with communities. Thank you.
Good evening, beloved board members and superintendent. My name is Mamie Moore, and I'm part of the PTA organizing team at M.R. Hollis Innovation Academy. I'm back at y'all again tonight. I'm calling you to give serious consideration to the golden opportunity that you have, an open door to be good stewards. At Hollis Innovation Academy is a prize resource, an underutilized, unused pool. I'm here tonight to ask you to support the reactivation of that pool. Be good stewards. It's a resource that's already there that's not being used. Secondly, I ask you to consider the value of it. I spoke to you about that last week, the value to our children, the value in terms of their social development, their psychological development, their physical development. And finally, you have a golden opportunity to be partners, not to fight with the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative, but to partner with it. I'm part of the group that is fighting for the rebuilding of healthy, sustainable English Avenue and Vine City, the rebuilding of a beloved community. And all of the experts say that one of the elements of a healthy, sustainable community is a healthy, sustainable educational system. Hollis sits in the middle of historic part of Atlanta. If you do the work that is necessary and reactivate the pool, as we have seen in the vision for the West Side Land Use Framework Plan, we will be able to bring back a valuable resource that will not only empower and develop our children, but that will also contribute to the rebuilding of a healthy, sustainable English Avenue and Vine City, a beloved community. Do your job, y'all. We need it. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Neil Phillips, Sheena Stone, and Davita Huntley. If you would kindly come in that order.
Gotta adjust this right here. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Neil Phillips, and I serve as the founder of a nonprofit organization called Guide Outreach, which supports communities and youth in Atlanta with volunteer engagements, professional development, community resources, and scholarships. Today, I'm thankful to speak on my experience with the Leadership APS program and to share the room with leaders from across the city here this night. So I believe firmly that as leaders and game changers, we have a duty and an obligation to ensure the well-being and development of the next generation of leaders. The LEAD APS program has provided me with clear needs and areas of opportunity for not only our youth, but also for families and teachers from a holistic standpoint. In many cases, we assume what our community needs, but we don't always know for certain what the needs truly are, or we provide a one-size-fits-all solution that's kind of based on assumptions. So in this case, with the Leadership APS program, from facilities plans to programming and budgeting conversations, it's helped me to create a clear and intentional plan for meaningful impact through my organization, but then also in the room that I share with fellow leaders from across the city. And for that, I'd like to thank Dr. Johnson, Carl Hill, Ms. Ross, and the full support team for your guidance in leading a phenomenal program that has made me and my organization a greater asset to the city of Atlanta. In closing, I encourage all the leaders in this room to continue pushing forward with your time, talent, and treasure as you've already been doing, because it's all meaningful in making the city of Atlanta a greater place. And for that, I appreciate everyone in this room in addition to the APS board. So keep up the great work. It's a collective effort from all of us, and I'm glad to be a part of this effort as we move to make Atlanta a better place. So thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Johnson. I wanted to thank you for presenting a screen time policy. It's something that we needed in our schools, and I am so proud that you all took the first step with proposing a draft. The recent draft that I looked at, I think there's a lot of opportunity to tighten it up. One thing that I think is not mentioned is homework. The screen time policy nowhere states how much homework is included in that screen time limit, and I would encourage you all to take note of that. 40 parents met on a Zoom call this past week to talk about the screen time policy, and over we heard from students, parents, that children are watching videos in gym class. And if you read the screen time policy as it is today, it doesn't provide for an elimination of this type of screen time. So I'd encourage you all to think about a way that we can document and define something like watching workout videos in PE class. Perhaps, it's something like in PE, we don't allow watching screens. Another suggestion for the screen time limits, I think that you all did a really good job in providing caveats for the teachers to have projects. I think because there's those caveats that you could strengthen the time limits. It could be 30 minutes per day for K through 2. It could be 60 minutes 3 through 5. I think that because you say project-based directed by teachers could be at any length, you allow opportunities for any research-based project that would require screen time. Thank you.
Good evening. Last month, I stood before the Board of Education and Superintendent and asked you to relax, to restore barriers, expand access, and allow more families the opportunity to celebrate their graduates. My ask was loud, direct, and unapologetic because I believed then, and still believe now, that our graduates deserve to be celebrated by the people who love them the most. Today, my apology must be just as loud. Today, I offer both gratitude and an apology to Superintendent Brian Johnson, Board Chair Jessica Johnson, Board Executive Director Mike Wilborn, the Atlanta Board of Education, administrators, staff, security personnel, and the entire class of 2026 for your leadership and commitment throughout graduation season. I also apologize that the actions of a few have overshadowed the accomplishments of so many. The disruptions witnessed at multiple ceremonies do not reflect the character, excellence, and promise of the overwhelming majority of our students and families. I advocated for greater access because our graduates deserve it. However, access, and I just lost my spot, y'all. However, access and accountability must go hand in hand. Unfortunately, incidents like these only reinforce stricter ticket limits and make it more difficult to expand opportunities for families in the future. Because of these incidents, ticket limits are now being enforced more than ever, making it increasingly difficult to advocate for expanded access and additional opportunities for families to celebrate their graduates. So the class of 2026, we are proud of you. Your accomplishments remain worthy of celebration, and the actions of a few will never define the achievements. Congratulations and my apologies.
The next three speakers are Doris Usher Savage, Sharon Guest, and Courtney Bonner. If you would kindly come in that order.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm here to represent the C.L. Harper High School of class of 1966. We are celebrating our 60th class reunion in September, and we would like to thank the board members for all you have done for the planetarium at the C.L. Harper High School, and we appreciate all that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Superintendent and APS Board community. My name is Sharon Guest, and I am the founder of Radiant Development Partners. We are a small Atlanta-based housing development firm focused on creating quality, equitable housing for working families and legacy residents. As a native Atlantan, product of APS, Frederick Douglass High School graduate, and not a rich developer, I support the extensions of the TAD in the NRI. I have witnessed firsthand the impact of the decades of disinvestment on our neighborhoods, families, and economic opportunity. While many parts of Atlanta have experienced tremendous growth and investment, there are communities that have continued to struggle. The extension of the TADs and NRI is important because it provides one of the few remaining tools that can help bridge the gap between what communities need and what the market can support. Simply put, if not but for the TAD funding, many transformational, affordable housing developments would never be built. We have experienced this firsthand and had the benefit of TAD in several of our projects. Trinity Flats is one of those developments. Located across the street from where we are and adjacent to City Hall, Trinity is a transformational mixed income development community that was born from the city's vision to ensure affordability remains part of downtown's Atlanta future. This is a rare opportunity with all of the development going on around. Trinity would be 218 units, studios, 1, 2s, and 3s with rent set between 30 and 80% AMI, and all utilities will be included in that rent. Opportunities like this are becoming increasingly rare, and without intentional investment, many working families would never have a chance to live in the heart of the city they serve. For me, the extension of the TADs is more than about housing. It's creating pathways of investment in communities that have historically been marginalized. I grew up in Southwest Atlanta in a time when our communities were thriving. We could shop in our own neighborhoods, eat at our local restaurants, see our doctors in our neighborhoods, attend quality schools, and worship in our churches. There was a strong sense of pride and stability. I ask that you all support and consider the TAD extension in the NRI.
Good evening, board members, and thank you for listening today. First, I want to say I'm Dr. Courtney Bonner. I am a parent of a proud Beecher Bee at Beecher Hills Elementary School, and I want to thank you, first off, by thanking you for the time that you're taking to really consider how TADs might impact our schools, and also taking the time to think about how screen time impacts our students. So I really appreciate the draft policy that was distributed earlier this month, and I think it is a great first step. However, I do think that there are ways that it can be improved. First, I think that I really appreciate the framework used in terms of screen value. And I would hope that we would also take this as an opportunity to think about how we educate our students and educators about decreasing screen time, passive screen time, but also increasing the screen value. We live in a moment of AI and technology, and I think a screen time policy that does not acknowledge that is a missed opportunity. And so I would urge you, as you go back and you think about the policy, to really make sure that it encompasses a comprehensive curriculum for both teachers and students. The second thing I think that it can be improved upon is the supports that we give our teachers, and I think this is where TADS come into play. The screen time policy asks our teachers to decrease screen time without explicitly outlining the supports that we'll give our teachers to engage in more hands-on activities. When talking to our teachers on the line with the 40 parents, they express the need for support in order to decrease screen time. And I would encourage the board to think about how the savings from the school closures and the perceived benefit of the TADS would benefit our children in the future as we think about the screen time policy. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Molly Sylvan, Abby Greenbaum, and Akeem Williams. If you would kindly come in that order.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. My name is Dr. Molly Slavin, and I am a proud parent of a rising first grader at Parkside Elementary. I also have a 2-year-old future panda coming up behind. I am here to speak about the new proposed APS screen time policy. This policy is a step in the right direction, but it does not go far enough in terms of limiting screen time. I would urge you, for example, to consider banning screens in K through 12 altogether and very minimally introducing it in future grades. My concerns here are threefold. Firstly, I am an educator myself. I teach college English, and this year made the decision to have an entirely analog classroom environment. The difference in retention, engagement, and enthusiasm in my students was light years ahead of past years where I permitted screens. Secondly, from simple observation, I can tell my kindergartner, now first grader, is not retaining anything he learns on programs such as iReady. The information is in one ear and out the other, unlike when we do hard copy worksheets on our own. Thirdly, I am also concerned about these ed tech companies harvesting our students' data, especially when they are too young to fully consent to or understand the magnitude of data harvesting. For example, there is a pending class action lawsuit against iReady in terms of harvesting and monetizing student data. I am not comfortable having my students surveilled in this way, and I assume many other parents agree with me. Thank you so much for your time and for taking the steps necessary to give our children a quality education.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and Superintendent Johnson. I'm here as a parent at Finch Elementary, where every day in our school community, we witness the cost of Atlanta's socioeconomic and racial disparities. We know children can't wait for food security or safe and stable housing. However, we also know our school's children cannot wait for early learning, high quality literacy, and social emotional support. We know for sure that APS is also far from providing these things at the level all of Atlanta's children deserve. So I'm urging you not to extend APS participation in TADS and make that challenge even harder. Last year, many of you looked our communities in the eye and said you didn't have the money to keep our schools open. You said that only if we consolidated could you fully fund our schools. After telling us this, you cannot voluntarily decide to clear-cut the district's future budget. While this would be a betrayal in communities that are already low on trust, it also doesn't make sense. How can we reinvest in neighborhoods by cutting the legs out from under the schools that anchor them? Because the corridor TADS will continue for some time, we need accountability, and that means open public meetings for how the money being diverted from schools is being used to make sure that development in places like Campbellton Road is happening consistently and meeting the community's urgent needs. As for the Beltline TAD, as that money comes back into the district, do not forget that while people often say Beltline and mean Midtown or Jackson, The Beltline TAD is also Carver, Slater, Dunbar, Sylvan Hills, Finch, Russell, and Washington. And these communities do not, right now, after years and years of TADs, have strong enrollments or equal access to funding and programs. You know very well how many families from Finch have been displaced already by Beltline development and the impact that's had on our school. Moving forward, as that money comes back to APS, it's on you to be better and more just stewards of those resources. Do not ask today's children to pay for the city or the district's history of disinvestment. Please end APS TAD participation when it's scheduled to end. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are John Winnick, Greg Clay, and Katie Maloa. If you'll come in that order.
Good evening, board members and superintendent. My name is John Winnick, and my daughter starts kindergarten at Bolton Academy in the fall. I'm here tonight to discuss a concern shared by many parents regarding screen time and the use of modern technology in school, and to ask for the district's support in creating a more balanced and intentional tech environment. We're living in a moment where technology is evolving faster than the body of scientific knowledge on how it affects children. Current research links early childhood screen time to disruptions in attention, language development, and emotional regulation. As parents, we're navigating a constantly shifting landscape, and we don't have access to the data that would help us understand our children's exposure in the classroom. We know that kids model adult behavior. If the adults around them are consistently turning to devices and services from Apple, Google, and OpenAI to solve problems, we're teaching them to do the same. Look, I'm a software engineer. I'm not suggesting we abandon modern technology, but children need to see adults approach tech with a degree of skepticism and criticality if we truly want to prepare them for the future. At the end of the day, these companies are just trying to put these devices in our classroom to expose younger kids to brands so they're aware of like what this technology is, and you know, effectively using our own money to market tech to our children. To move in the direction of, you know, having a more responsible policy, we're asking the district for two things. First, we want to define balanced literacy, which would be clear guidelines that prioritize physical books and handwriting alongside tablets in K through 5. And second, we want data transparency, a clear view into device use by grade level so we can establish a baseline and track impact over time. We all want to prepare our kids for a tech-forward world. We're asking for a holistic effort, one where parents, teachers, and leadership are aligned around a shared framework, and teachers have the support and resources they need to make intentional choices in the classroom about technology. We want to give our children the opportunity to experience school as a dynamic environment full of challenges, curiosity, and engagement with the world and the people around them, and we can do that with less screen time. Thank you so much for your time and everything you guys do for our children.
Good evening, and thank you, Madam Chair and board members. My name is Greg Clay, and I serve as the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Honorable Mayor Andre Dickens. As many of you know, I'm a graduate of Benjamin Mays High School, and my parents and grandmother are also graduates of Atlanta Public Schools. But prior to graduating, I was one of the many children growing up under the poverty line on the southwest side of the city. I was a lunch card kid, changing schools 3 times in elementary school due to instability of my family. Growing up off Camilton Road, where not much has changed, where many blocks still represent the lack of investment, where 96% of children in Atlanta born into poverty remain in poverty. I'm grateful to be part of that 4%. Education, opportunity, and blessings helped to shape my life. Now, I'm contributing to my community as a mentor, various roles supporting our youth across our city, and father to a future APS student. In spite of the conditions of my neighborhood and unknown statistics that were in front of me, I, along with far too many youth in the city of Atlanta, share in the unfortunate parts of these stories, where the circumstances surrounding our schools have been barriers to success for what we can achieve inside of our schools. What I know is that in order for us to change this, is we have to have transformative and intentionality about the road ahead. More importantly, we have to work as continued partners as we have worked as partners before. And we have already partnered in so many different ways during the Dickens administration, including Year of the Youth initiatives. We made the largest investment into the city's history in early education. We have developments in progress at several former school sites to transform them into housing for our APS parents and teachers that want to live in our city, just to name a few. And as partners in this continued work in serving the community, we fully understand that there are constraints of resources, but we don't have to fall into the false choice of investing in our neighborhoods for our kids. We can certainly do both. Thank you so much.
Good evening, members of the board and Madam Chair and Superintendent. My name is Katie Mola. I'm also Deputy Chief of Staff at the City of Atlanta, and I want to thank you for your time for this important conversation. As my colleague Greg said, we are proud and grateful of the partnership between the city and the school system that's only grown these last few years. This deepening relationship reflects what we know to be true, that the welfare of our students and the future of our city is inextricably linked. We appreciate that APS leadership has echoed their support for the aims and goals of the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative to address these longstanding inequities we've heard tonight. We can't do this alone, and having a committed partner in APS would be transformative in how far and how fast we can go to changing the trajectory for Atlanta families. We understand deeply that APS has serious resource constraints, and every decision on the best use of a taxpayer's dollar merits close review. That's why we've modified our proposal based on APS's feedback to ensure it's as responsive as possible to student needs. We remain open to refining our project list to ensure every dollar of APS increment from TADS can be tied to student outcomes. We've modified the proposal to utilize neighborhood median income for deeper affordability and to build housing designed for families, including 3- and 4-bedroom units. And later this week, we'll be sharing a proposal with you all to partner in creating teacher villages on former APS sites that combine home ownership and rental opportunities to help educators put down roots in the communities where they teach. We believe strongly that we must pursue a path that unlocks resources today and addresses the well-being of students holistically. The student mobility and under-enrollment in our schools in the southwest parts of our city must be addressed at their root, ensuring families have affordable housing and safe, thriving communities to live in. As you all consider what your participation in the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative looks like over these next few months, we are hopeful and eager to work together on how our shared resources can benefit students and families, both in and outside the classroom. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Tanika Vincent, Kaiten Ajanaku, and Mandy Lane. If you would kindly come in that order. At this time, I would like to remind everyone that the board extended the public comment period by an additional 30 minutes to accommodate discussion regarding the TAD. We will continue accepting in-public person comments until 8:15. If you have not yet had an opportunity to speak by 8:15, we encourage you to submit your comments using the QR code that Mr. Glass has here. All comments submitted through the QR code will be shared with every board member at the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you.
If you could please let us finish we're spending time. We're going to go ahead and take the young lady that's in front of us speaking now. Thank you.
Good evening to all members of the board. I am Tanika Perry Vincent, Spanish course facilitator with Atlanta Virtual Academy, and I'm here tonight in strong support of the Atlanta Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative. My relationship with this city began in 1991 when I arrived as an 18-year-old freshman at Spelman College. Over the last 35 years, I have watched Atlanta evolve, grow, and transform under every mayor since Maynard Jackson. For the past 14 years, my view of this city has been from the front lines as a veteran APS Spanish teacher and instructional technology specialist. COVID-19 revealed realities in our district that still exist today that we cannot continue to ignore. I was deeply shaken to discover that the compounding crisis of poverty, housing insecurity, and a lack of basic human needs and digital equity didn't stop at our students' front doors, but also lived with our teachers and staff as I distributed a food package to a colleague, an active and working APS middle school teacher who I discovered in that moment was unhoused and with children of her own who were students in APS. She was brave enough to reveal herself, but how many teachers then and today stand in those lines that we don't know about? I've seen firsthand that the very people tasked with stabilizing, educating, and nurturing our city's children were and are themselves unhoused, impoverished, and lacking basic necessities. Back then, we had educators and support personnel living in precarious situations, trying to teach virtual classes from hotspots, or not, while trying to survive in the very communities where they work. Sadly, today, in 2026, I know there are many still living this way. I ask, how can we expect world-class outcomes from a system where students and caretakers are in survival mode, struggling to live day to day, when our educators, students, families, and support staff are struggling for food,
Vincent,
shelter.
Your 2 minutes are up. Thank you.
Thank you. And digital access are.
Thank you, Ms. Vincent. Your 2 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kita Joniku, and I'm a parent of 2 Beecher Hills Elementary students. Thank you especially to Shivy Brooks for your work on the screen time draft policy. The draft is a step forward, but does not yet go far enough to address excessive screen use in our classrooms. I asked the board to make 7 specific revisions before adoption. 1, reduce the proposed screen time guidance for our youngest learners. The limit should be reduced to no more than 30 minutes per day for pre-K through 2nd grade and no more than 60 minutes for 3rd grade. The research is clear. Young children learn best through direct instruction, play, writing, hands-on activities, and physical books. Strengthen the policy's definitions. The draft introduces the concept of screen value, but the policy does not clearly define what qualifies as high value versus low value technology use. The policy should include clear definitions and examples of active screen use, passive screen use, instructional technology use, and independent device use, so implementation is consistent across schools and classrooms. Establish explicit limits on passive digital consumption. The policy should specifically address YouTube, Netflix, streaming video platforms, and similar content. As you're aware, YouTube lost a landmark case this year, where a jury found Meta and YouTube liable for intentionally designing addictive platforms. YouTube and similar platforms should be heavily restricted in our classrooms. Operationalize how parents and guardians can annually consent and opt in for each Google application on each Chromebook. Require annual reporting and accountability measures so parents receive transparent information regarding average screen use by grade band, devices usage patterns, and the district's progress toward reducing unnecessary screen exposure. Develop school-wide guidance outlining best practices for reducing and monitoring student screen time and incorporate age-appropriate instruction regarding risk associated with use of social media, AI, and other emerging digital and online technologies, including manipulative and addictive design, as well as a safe and appropriate use of the internet. And encourage schools to utilize laptop carts and or community labs or computer labs for 2nd through 5th grade while reducing the use of one-to-one devices. Thank you.
Hi. I am here to speak a little bit to what I want to see happen with this $10 million investment in special education. So we have made huge progress. I have seen the progress as a special ed parent in APS, but we do still have some of our children experiencing out of school suspensions at very young ages for very minor violations. Now, some of this is tied to the fact that we do have paraprofessionals working 2 jobs. We have paraprofessionals who can't afford to live in the city. We have paraprofessionals that don't experience enough training. We also have special education teachers that have to travel far for work as well. This is one of the things when I joined the Beltline TADAC, I was hoping to alleviate, but that didn't happen. 20% off of market value doesn't do jack squat for anybody. That doesn't help. I also want us to get a focus on what happens in grades 6 through 12 with special ed. There is a cliff in which parents start to look at private school, homeschool, charter school, anything, because they don't feel like they can handle the large overwhelming environment that happens in special ed at the older grades. If your kid has made progress like mine did wonderfully in K through 5, went from being deeply behind in reading and math to, as soon as she entered grade six, being ready to move off of alternative assessments into regular assessments, into regular milestones. This is wonderful, but what happens is if you're getting too advanced for the special ed room and taking that special ed placement, but then you can't handle the overwhelming environment of the regular classroom in your zone middle school, you're left with nothing. I said I would never go to a charter, and I'm at Kendesi now, in which where they actually did put me on ambitious goals. They did get me off of alternative assessments. They did give us an ambitious plan to work intensely in math to get my child proficient in math. And I didn't have to deal with the overwhelming environment that would have been at my zone school, where we had generally not been able to ever get 504 meetings remotely within the legal time limit for another child in my family. This is a solvable problem. I wanted to stay. I felt pushed out. I want to return for high school.
Your 2 minutes are up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Sherry Bilal, Stephen Dingle, and Atara Thomas, if you will come in that order.
Hello, I'm back again. I'm back so you could swim back Hollis. Hollis Innovation is located in the heart of Atlanta. We're actually 2 streets over from Dr. King House. 234 Sunset Avenue is Dr. King home. And we want to ensure that Hollis Innovation is considered to be under East Splash consideration for the pool, because it's something that's needed for our community. And I want you to remind you that it's something that was already at Hollis, and it's just restoration. And we need Hollis Innovation Pool to be activated. So I just want to remind you guys to swim back Hollis. Swim back Hollis. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Superintendent, Chair, Vice Chair, and the board. First of all, I want to say congratulations to the class of 2026 all across APS. But with that being said, and of course your resilience, your families, and your dedication. But just like Ms. Hunley said about the behaviors after certain graduations, I know that's not APS's responsibility, but I'm the type that I don't ignore a problem regardless of responsibility. That behavior was deplorable and unacceptable. But we can't let it outshine the achievements of our kids, but I also can't stand for that kind of behavior at some of the biggest moments of their lives. So I think that should be acknowledged and know that it's unacceptable in the city of Atlanta. Like Ms. Huntley said, that's going to lead to stricter rules around our graduates for future, and we can't have that. We consider ourselves a community. Secondly, last time I spoke here, I said there seems to be a disconnect between the business of education and educating our children. And I was sent a map a few weeks ago where charter schools versus the north side versus the south side. And I think there's roughly 3 on the north side and roughly 4 times that on the south side. And I was trying to investigate and figure out why that is and how does that impact our schools. And what it told me was, and a lot of people may know this already, but as I investigated, it said that it's impossible to have quality public schools while having a lot of charter schools. You can't build both. Quality charter schools only happen when there are quality, successful public schools. So when a charter school pops up, you know it's equitable and of quality because your public schools are of quality. But if you're trying to make your public schools great and they're mediocre at best, and then you build several charter schools, you're only going to have a hodgepodge of mediocrity. So I'm not against charter schools. I'm pro charter schools only if our public education is of quality as well. So I don't know if anybody's for NRI and the TAD extension or they're against it. But what I will say, no matter what your decision is, just make sure that our public schools, the foundation of Atlanta's education system, is of quality. That's your first job as school board member. So I always appreciate you for your service, appreciate you for your time. Everybody have a great evening.
Good evening. I am Atara Thomas, and I am a parent of students at KIPP Metro Atlanta Schools. For years, I have been asking questions. I've spent years writing emails, attending meetings, gathering medical documentation, filing police reports, documenting concerns, reporting concerns, submitting complaints, following reporting procedures, reaching out to school leadership, reaching out to the members of the board, reaching out to district leadership, and reaching out to anyone who I believe could help me, all in good faith. But because when something isn't right, the goal isn't to be in confrontation. The goal should be resolution. The goal should be partnership. And that's all I've ever been seeking. The concern is that after all of these years of asking questions, reporting concerns, following the process, and still seeking resolution and partnership, I don't have the answers. And tonight, because I still don't have those answers, I need to ask a few of these questions publicly. What are the parents supposed to do when they begin to feel pushed away with open arms? What are the parents supposed to do when advocating for their child begins to feel less like partnership and more like penalty? What are parents supposed to do when they continue to reach out for answers but are met with hostility instead of resolution and silence instead of communication? What are parents supposed to do when they are welcomed on paper but not in practice? What are parents supposed to do when fairness, equality, transparency, and accountability are promised but their experiences tell a different story? What are parents supposed to do when they spend years looking for solutions but the system seems more focused on defending itself than solving the problem? And perhaps one of my most important questions is, what message are you sending to parents when advocating for their children comes with
Ms.
consequences?
Thomas, your 2 minutes are up. Thank you.
That was it. I trusted you with my children.
The next 3 speakers are Nathaniel Dyer, Kimberly Brooks, and Waukesha Howe. You will kindly come in that order.
Hey, that $10 million that you're saving, hey, $25 million you're trying to save, put that towards the schools you close. You said 25 million, so at least $15 million. So I'm sure you can find the rest of that. As it relates to the voting rights, your behavior, one has to think, and it may be unpopular, what kind of representation do black people get with you all in the office? Now they're gutting it. You're supposed to be for us, for the children. You're the ones closing the schools. You're closing the schools. Voting rights are being taken away. So next, I guess you're going to have in the plantation. It appears, with the mayor's presence, that you all are going to vote his way, and whatever that is, it's just total buffoonery. Somebody tap him on the shoulder. I saw him making a rant about he's this and he's that. Somebody tell him he's the mayor. He's got power. He can impact these communities. Plus, he's supposed to come from the community. So, we got to get some things together. And the first thing we have to do is put our children first. It amazes me that people don't see the cranes in our neighborhood. I hear people talking about, the disinvestment. There are cranes in our neighborhood. Development is going on. That's why they closed the schools. That's why, look at the timing. You rushed to vote in December. And Loretta Baldwin, what's happened to her? She was the one that voted to close the schools. Now she's concerned about community. Now she's listening. You all look ridiculous. But if you're going to do it, here's what we're going to do about the TADs. No extension unless you stop the resolution, put a resolution on the table to stop to keep the schools open. Require a dedicated TAD revenue set aside for the communities affected by these closures. Let's get some stake in the game. Third, the city must hold APS harmless for revenue loss to redevelopment financing. You do those things, let's see how far the ball rolls down the road. Reopen the schools, halt the closures, and vote no to the TAD extension unless you do those following things. Thank you. And the parent was right.
Okay, let me just make a quick announcement as we are approaching 8:10. We have 5 minutes left on our commitment of an extended 30 minutes of public comment. And so I've communicated with my colleagues via text message. This is what we're going to do. We only have 10 people left. Here's my ask. If you have already spoken and there is not new information that you need the board to hear at this time, if you could yield the floor so that we can hear those individuals who have not had an opportunity to share, and we can close out the public comment portion of our night. Say that again. If you've already spoken and there's not new critical information that you would like the board to hear at this time, we're going to ask you to yield your time so we can get through the remainder of the list. We're committed to listening, but we want to make sure that we don't block out those people who haven't had an opportunity to speak. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ask denied. Kimberly Brooks here. So I don't know who the gentleman was that spoke for the Carver Cluster that said we, but that is not we, because he doesn't include us. The Carver Cluster is in, it's horrible right now. So let me just read this to stick to the comments. So here, charter and partner schools operating with reduced accountability, inconsistent curriculum rigor, and weak special education compliance has created a two-tier system. Hundreds, possibly thousands of black children are being supervised rather than educated, while traditional public schools that meet full legal obligations are strained of enrollment and labor failing. In contracts with KIPP, Kendesi, PERP, and Build Purpose Built Now. Stop selling the education of black children in poor communities to developers and investors who deceive families with marketing and surface level spending while stripping the school of rigor, resources, and stability our children deserve. Tell the truth, there is no low enrollment. You place black children in contracts and stop counting them so you could steal their schools. Additionally, as it relates to us not having to agree to this task so we can know what happens now and not look back and be confused, there was never any confusion in regards to where we are and the posture of this Board of Education. They have always had an intention, since I have been here serving this community since the cheating scandal, to take over those exact same schools that I fought to keep open, and I will fight to keep those schools open. And every single board member, every single person, we defeated Nathan Deal with Amendment 1, we will defeat you. Because this community, there's no two cities, we are one. There's Bankhead, there's Buckhead, there's Virginia Highland, there's Oakland City, there is the West End. We are one. What we are divided by is corrupt leadership. And people don't understand the nature of Atlanta and Atlantans. This is where it all started. And if this must be where it all ends, it will be where it ends. We will fight for our children. We will fight for our equity. You will not steal our tax dollars because you put them in the tax allocation district so you can spend them later. Cease the TAD, don't participate with the city of Atlanta, and engage in corruption, because we are here and we will come for you.
First of all, I want to just start by saying I support Hollis Pool. I support Conley, Dunbar, and Finch. And the other schools staying open, point blank, period. Now let me say this. Y'all bought these politics out tonight. Do you hear me? The politics are here and they in the building. What they been when these kids wasn't reading and they was failing? What was they when the last school was closing? Where were these people then? We talking about we go. Show me redevelopment without displacement. Now, speaking of Perry Bolton, I'm living proof, baby. I was born and raised in Perry home. Y'all pushed us out under Shirley Franklin. I said it. Y'all pushed us out. Y'all closed. Y'all tore our goddamn school down. Our school is not there no more. So don't sit in front of me. Nobody in this room talking about extensive tasks. It's gonna help these kids. They can't eat. They eating. They come in here and eat, don't it? I'm living proof. We didn't go back and enjoy that. We don't enjoy when these investments come in and we pushed out the city. I'm pushed on the south side. Now, that's where I'm at. What these folk mean? Now they come because the mayor wants some. Mayor, come talk to the community, man. We sick of you. Now, Mr. Johnson, side note, where is the safe space for the staff and these principals and these teachers and all these? Because this is what I want to understand. How we have principals who are not certified, right? We got people in the building, and it's been going on for a long time. I want to start, too, by saying, in these cliques, if you're not in a frat or a sorority, you don't get to move up. That got to go, man. At the city and over here. That needs to end immediately. If you qualify, you need to be in your role to do the job and push our baby forward. All that needs to cease. Lastly, I'm going to say this. They talking about, oh, we going to give these housing and all this stuff here. Listen here. There's no school district without children. You keep pushing these children out. These teachers, staff, principals ain't gonna have, y'all ain't gonna be sitting here making no $200,000. You keep pushing these folks out. Nothing is gonna get done. And I want to say, I watched I watched you let other people speak extra, and you let other people, you called them out. Check that, man.
Thank you. Our next three speakers are Eric Thomas, Elaine Hudson, and David Guy. If you would kindly come in that order.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I want to first of all commend this entire board, our superintendent, and all those who work in a part of Atlanta Public School System. I am a native of Atlanta. My name is Eric Thomas. I didn't have the privilege to be born in Great Hospital. I was born in a little hospital right across the street. I've lived in Atlanta my entire life, but I'm coming today as a pastor of St. Peter Missionary Baptist Church, which is in the Campbellton Road corridor. It's on 1558 Venetian Drive. And I come in support of the tax allocation district as an instrument for the neighborhood reinvestment initiative. I understand clearly that the work of the school system and the school board is for the purpose of nurturing the kids. And the gentleman said earlier, which are precious gifts. I also understand that only about 60% or 60% of what takes place in the kids' development is in the classroom, but the other 40% is what I'm here to talk about today. Having served as pastor for 22 years in that area, I've come to understand that there's so many kids that because of the diminishing and disintegration of the whole Campbellton corridor, have found themselves no longer having the aspirations, the expectations that they should have living in that community. One of the things I do quite frequently is take students and kids and go to my church in the neighborhood just a little bit outside to let them see the rest of Atlanta. Sometimes I don't have to go far. Sometimes I can go down to 285 Cascade, just a little bit over the city line, and many of them are stunned about what takes place there. But the thing that, and this is an anecdote, but I want to share it, the thing that impacted me the most in the time I've done that is there was 4 or 5 young men, all that go to Carver now. At the time they were in middle school, and I got a chance to drive them a little bit up the street, Midtown, Brookhaven, and Buckhead. And they were shocked. And one of the kids said to the other kid, I bet these kids do well in school up here. It hurt because I thought that their expectation was diminished because of the communities, the streets, the things that they had to look at and had to deal with. And I do believe that the tax allocation district and the NRI will transform a neighborhood that's been diminished for 50 years.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Your 2 minutes are up.
Good evening, members of the board and superintendent. My name is Elaine Hudson. I'm the proud parent of a rising second grader at Perkerson Elementary in District 6. And for the past 10 years, my family and I have lived in Sylvan Hills. One of the many reasons we moved into the neighborhood was its close proximity to the elementary school. 2 years ago, a group of moms and I founded the Perkerson PTO. We have created fun and meaningful opportunities for the families to be involved. After attending multiple rounds of school closure meetings last fall, we were told that the district was facing a severe financial shortfall that would force the closure of many schools, including Perkerson. We were devastated to learn that Perkerson remained on the final list of schools to close, approved by the board in December. To even consider extending any of the 8 tax allocation districts in the midst of a budget shortfall and school closures is a slap in the face. In a recent Accelerate APS survey, it said the district is facing a $100 million deficit over the next 5 years. Now more than ever, APS should reap the benefits of increased property taxes in the city of Atlanta. TADs strip money away from schools and children's educational resources. There has been no evidence that the capital improvements of existing TADs have benefited students, faculty, and staff of APS. A vote in favor of extending the TADs is a vote against students, family, and staff of APS. The city of Atlanta needs to redirect its attention to the Fulton County Commission to properly assess the property tax of commercial properties. Businesses, not children, need to be paying their fair share for public goods and services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and superintendent. My name is David Guy, and I am the proud parent of a rising second grader at Perkerson Elementary as well. That's my wife. I'm also a computer science and math teacher at Maynard Jackson High School. Yes, I am so excited that the Atlanta Public School Board is ready to engage in solving the issues of technology in the classroom. In having conversations with multiple parents at Perkerson and beyond, parents are concerned with screens being the primary learning tool and form of fun. Parents are concerned with the gamified applications seeking attention above learning, as well as the rise of AI embedded applications into so many ed tech platforms. Do our students really need screens to learn? What evidence supports this? Using screens to learn digital skills is entirely different than using screens to learn. This needs to be a distinction made in the policy. Given the current framework and focus of the draft policy, here are some next steps to further improvements. The board needs to create their own method to measure the effectiveness of any proposed technology as a learning tool. Cut ties with gamified edtech applications. Remove personal student devices from pre-K to first grades. Stop the one-to-one Chromebook iPad policy. Instead, invest in classroom carts, labs with targeted learning software, not a web-based free-for-all. Block distracting websites like YouTube, AI chats, or block web browsers entirely. Allow parents to opt out of student devices while in school. Also, parents should opt in if they wanted their students to take home a device. Provide a policy for parents to accept or reject privacy policies instead of doing it on behalf of us or having the students do it themselves. I teach computer science, and I'm teaching from physical textbooks and student notebooks because that is what works. Let's give our students the confidence and skills they really need in the age of technology. Whole class teacher-led learning, student-led collaboration in person, critical thinking, and appropriate boundaries with technology. Thank you for your time in taking on this important issue.
Our next three speakers are Joanna Badani, Sherry Williams, and Jordan Christian. If you would kindly come in that order.
Hi, good evening, members of the board and superintendent. My name is Joanna Badani. I'm here as a APS parent. My daughter just finished first grade at Bolton Academy. And while it's a great school, we've definitely noticed a huge issue over the past year with the excessive use of technology and screen time. And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. I come thanking you for looking at this issue and starting to draft a policy. And I support you, or encourage you to adopt a policy as soon as possible and to further limit the time amounts that are proposed there and make even clearer guidelines as others have suggested tonight. My husband is a technology manager. I sit in front of a computer all day. We are not anti-technology, but there is no current clear evidence that the use of devices for teaching is better than human-based teaching and tactile learning, and that it improves any learning outcomes. And in fact, it's usually the opposite. We've noticed over the last year a distinct decline in our daughter's ability to focus, in her attention span, and in her ability to complete her homework assignments, which take her about 1 to 2 hours to do on the device, as opposed to the worksheets she used to get in kindergarten. And this is first grade again. We started reaching out to the school about our concerns, but the lack of a policy led to no clear outcomes and no alternatives. We had talked to your teacher about it, see if she'll give you other homework that's paper-based. That went nowhere. So we stopped doing homework in January for our daughter. I just want to note that the state just passed the cell phone ban through 12th grade, and we're facing the same issue by having these personal devices in the classroom and taking them home. On the Google Classroom platform that they use to get their assignments, there's a chat function, and they're texting all day long on there and playing games during recess when it's raining outside. There needs to be clear policy.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes are up.
One, two, three. Who are we? Super voters. Hi, we're Ed Advocates ATL. We're super voters. We represent 20 plus organizations that include a dozen churches, that includes Ebenezer Baptist Church, First Iconium, Hillside, Lindsay Street, and Life Church, to name a few. Several neighborhood organizations, nonprofits like Georgia Coalition of the People's Agenda and Georgia Stand Up. We are all concerned about and demand equity in your school closure plan. Let us point it out again, since you don't seem to understand. When we have a majority of schools in our underserved communities failing on the South Side, like Douglas Mays, Booker T. Washington, D.M. Farrell, are all below 20% in reading at or above grade level. When our kids on one side can't read, it's an equity and public safety issue.
Our children and communities are impacted by low reading scores because we know the inability to read leads to students who struggle in life and can be the link that pushes our children to the school to prison pipeline. Therefore, we demand that you take Continental Colony and Dunbar off the closure/repurpose list. This is critical to earning the trust of parents and our community organizations. Trust is not given, it is earned. We represent super voters across ATL. We will be voting on the East Blocks in November. Our votes will reflect our values. We support and value our children and communities. The question is, do you? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board. My name is Jordan Christian. I'm coming today to gain more clarity about TADS, their impact on our schools, and the overarching plan behind Mayor Dickens' Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative. I'm coming today because the conversation around TADS has pretty much always been around what we get, but we never really get people in elected office to talk about the potential pitfalls. So things like higher property taxes potentially leading to displacement, which exacerbates the gentrification crisis that the city is currently facing. And when people with families are being pushed out of their communities, have we taken into account that severing these friendships and relationships, how that can impact a student's ability to focus and learn in the classroom? And if this is something that can be potentially perpetuated in the community, only thing that would be Atlanta bred would be the developers and the businesses that pop up to fill that gap. So when Mayor Dickens first launched the NRI plan and said that TADS would pay for it, that was the first time that many people, including myself, learned what a TAD was. But I did my due diligence and researched. So we know that TAD money comes from property taxes that would have went to the county and to the schools. And with the TADS being renewed, do we have a plan that would prevent schools from bleeding staff, such as teachers and mental health professionals? And Mayor Dickens did say one thing that was phenomenal. We're experiencing the highest graduation rate in the past 4 years. But do we have a plan to not only preserve that, but to improve upon it? So I came up here saying that I wanted clarity, because we're constantly fed these equivocated and broad explanations and just told to just, trust it. But I think we deserve more than that. I think we deserve actual tangible answers. So I'm glad that this body is holding this meeting and this time to let us speak our piece and to consider making a review committee. So I urge you with this closing statement to review these words and the overall consensus of this room and not let it fall on deaf ears, so that we can unite and move towards a equitable and fair
Thank you. Your 2
future.
minutes are up. The
Thank
next
you.
2 speakers are Don Robinson and Kyle Kessler. If you will kindly come in that order.
Evening, everyone. Thank you for extending the time for us to speak. My sentiments today are a little bit different. I want to talk about first the Parker Poe Farm that you guys are paying $4 million a year, that I've seen Nina often brag about, and I don't see where you guys are getting your bang for your buck from with the Parker Poe Farm that keep getting kids money, right? Another problem I have is that a lot of you black candidates speak different when you're around white folks. You say one thing on the white side of town, and when you get around the black side of town, you say another thing. I'm from the west side of town, Bowen Home Bankhead to be exact. There's a phenomenon that happens every year in the black schools. You're gonna have a black salutatorian, Mr. Shibby Brooks, and a black valedictorian, and a top 10%. So it's black talent all over Atlanta, right? My mother will be 70 on the 18th of June. She used to tell me about how the white folk used to block off Payton Road where they couldn't get through at 6 o'clock, right? So there's a lot of people in Atlanta that still have that mind frame where black folks can't get across this line past 6 o'clock. Now, I haven't done my due diligence like the young man said about the TADS, right? All I'm there saying is, Barlow, we've never had a quality grocery store on Bankhead I came home from college and still living 30318, where I'm born and raised at, Mr. Clay. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You over there now too, you my neighbor. So all I'm just saying is that part of the confusion is that y'all say one thing around white folks who controlling the narrative in black issue. Them saying white folks didn't give a damn about y'all opinion when they wanted to separate from Buckhead. When Maynard became mayor, they separated, went to Sandy Spring. Alpharetta became his own city. They didn't consult with black folks. Stop kissing the ass of white folks and be true to who you are.
Good evening, board. My name is Kyle Kessler. Thank you for having us at this meeting, this open public meeting. I'm here because a couple weeks ago, in a TAD or a policy review committee, there was a policy introduced for the board to establish a TAD investment review committee that would have open meetings. So this morning, when I'm checking the agenda for this meeting and the documents attached to it, I see that now it's calling for closed meetings for this TAD investment committee. At your meeting, or earlier today, this was defined as a Scrivener's error, a mistake, something that just needs to be corrected. This afternoon, or late this morning, I sent an email to each of you board members concerned that this is a violation of the State Open Meetings Act, that as a committee created by this body, that it would need to be open, so notification, agendas posted, the ability for people to be in the room to hear what's going on in real time. Since your meeting this afternoon, that legislation has since been changed again to make it so that the board directs Atlanta Public Schools to establish this committee. It's minor sort of tweak there, but I don't think it changes the fact that the board is creating this committee. When it has been discussed, it is not the superintendent's proposal. It has been what this body has put forth in the policy committee, as well as being discussed this evening. Its sole purpose is to advise each of you. Its members are appointed by each of you, so I don't see how it's not your creation. So I ask that you take it off the consent agenda, open these meetings, and let's continue the conversation just as we've had this conversation. There are clearly more than 9 people in the city of Atlanta that are concerned about how Atlanta Public Schools will or will not participate, how it will participate in these TADs. So please take it off consent. Please make them open meetings. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this concludes public comment.
Thank you so much to all of our community members for joining us this evening. We always appreciate your feedback, and we will turn it over to Vice Chair Zeff.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Chair. So now 5.2 is report out from committees. We have 2 committee reports to hear from. First is Board Member Brooks from Policy, and then Board Member McDonald for the Accountability Committee. Board Member Brooks, is there an update from Policy Committee?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for your public comments. The Policy Review Committee met on May 14, 2026, and during this meeting, the committee reviewed updates to the counseling and advisement policy, discussed revisions to policy governing purchasing cards, P-cards, and electronic fund transfers, EFTs, to strengthen financial controls, improve oversight, and align district practices with modern banking standards. We discussed the student screen time and instructional resources policy. This policy provides guardrails for student screen time, reflects a back to the basics approach where teachers, physical resources, discussion, writing, and hands-on learning remain central to instruction. It provides an understanding that technology should be a tool that supports learning, not the driver of learning, and emphasizes the importance of supporting literacy, development, critical thinking, and a sustained attention among students. That policy is up for first read today, and I did want to note that we plan to organize opportunities to have some community engagement around this topic within, I'm hoping, the next 3 weeks or so, and to continue this dialogue in our next policy committee meeting later this month. So we have approved minor revisions to board governance policies to align with recent updates to the APS charter, including adjustments related to reporting structures and internal audit functions. We introduced a policy to establish a TAD Investment Review Committee, or council, it should say. The council will be advisory in nature, providing oversight and community input regarding TAD-related commitments, providing transparency, accountability, and public engagement. I just want to note that I have requested clarification from General Counsel, and I'm hoping to have that like within minutes, on where we are in terms of the open meetings thing, if we making sure that we are in alignment and in the direction that we want to be. And regardless, the intention is that that committee will produce a report, which will be public, which will be known to all and to this body as we consider any IGOs in the future. IGA, excuse me. We also started a conversation around surplus property considerations. The following policies you will see in today's consent agenda for final approval. Policy IG on counseling, advisement, academic and career planning. Policy DJEA, purchasing or credit card use. Policy BBA, board officers. Board regulation BBFR1, advisory committees. Board regulation BBF, I know it sounds like alphabet soup, I'm sorry y'all. BBFR6, advisory committees, internal audit activity charter, and the last policy DFB on tax allocation district investment review council. For first read, you have the student technology use of instructional materials, and as we conclude this year's work, I'm proud of the progress we have made in reviewing, updating, developing policies and regulations that strengthen the district's operations, governance, and support for students. These efforts reflect our commitment to continuous improvement and to creating the conditions necessary for all APS students to succeed. It's been an honor to serve as chair, both under our previous chair, Mitchell, and under our current chair, board member Johnson. I know, right? It's been a long night. I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. As an educator, many times we feel like school happens to us and policies happen to us. And so to be put in a trusted position by my colleagues to help lead policy conversations for our body, this has been some of the most meaningful work that I've had yet to do during my life. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Board Member Brooks, and thank you for a very active and robust policy agenda.
You put me somewhere, I'm going to work.
Board Member McDonald, Accountability Committee update.
Far less robust. It is my honor to chair the Accountability Commission for the third year, and we have a very thorough process that each board member will go through in order to properly evaluate the superintendent, which is one of the board's most critical roles. It's not only the hiring of, but the annual assessment. So each board member goes through a very thorough process on a rubric that is public facing. But of course, the contents of everyone's feedback is confidential. But there will be an action item on today's agenda as a result of the work that we've done.
Thank you, Board Member McDonald. Thank you for your leadership. 5.3 is report out from conferences. There is no conference participation this past month to report out. Back to you, Board Member Johnson.
It over to Superintendent Johnson.
Absolutely, thank you. Madam Chair, 3 presentations today. Mr. Norvell gave an update on our strategic plan progress for end of year. Dr. Bracken gave an update on just our monthly financial as well as the FY27 proposed budget. I'm laughing as I'm smiling as I'm saying this. We heard a lot about policy today, and so we had a chance to hear about screen value. Appreciate the great dialogue that continues to go on there from Dr. Mincy, as well as input from Dr. Payne, and Bonnie Lapwood and Ms. Barnett gave us an update on all things. Ms. Barnett gave us an update on all things policy, and Bonnie Lapwood around TADS. and so appreciate those updates as well. Last thing I'd just say briefly is that appreciate the work of teachers, leaders, all staff members over the course of this last school year as we've wrapped up the year. It takes so many people to make a school system go, and I know many in this room know that, but it takes everybody from those that are working in school nutrition to the teacher that's in front of the student in the class, to the bus driver that's the first person to greet a student. I was laughing the last couple of weeks of school. I rode a bus, and the bus I was on, I don't know how our driver gets up and down that street every single day in the Jackson cluster, but she somehow does. And so, you take for granted what our people do every single day that makes our system go. And so we were very appreciative of the work over this last school year and the work that's going on, frankly, right now as we're in Power Up, and they've just continued forward. So appreciate that.
Okay, Dr. Johnson, thank you so much. I'm going to give my colleagues a moment to get logged in Assembly. Thank you kindly. And would you please present the consent agenda, Dr. Johnson?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm pleased to submit the consent agenda items number 6.1A through 6.4A for your consideration and approval. In these items, you'll find a couple of authorizations aligned to our focus, and we're strengthening our instructional core. And you see an increase in funds for IB, the renewing of my backpack resources, and providing specialized educational services under our system is efficient and effective. You will also see authorizations for safety, as well as stakeholder perception, facilities, transportation, as well as environmental testing.
Just a little point of privilege here before we vote. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Just want to say, as I joined, January 12th, was that the date? I am proud to have worked on the counseling and advisement policy, and that's my first one that I really held on super tight to. And so just thank you to the APS leadership for all of your hard work on this, and also to Dr. Johnson just for making sure that we got this through. I've been in education for over 20 years, and 15 of those years has been spent in the post-secondary access and success space. And I promise to continue to be respectfully annoying to the APS leadership, but also work in partnership with you. I think a lot about graduation, and 2 weeks ago I probably shook over 1,500 hands, and in 4 years I want to look at every single student that crosses that stage and be able to know that they have a strong plan in place because of this policy. Also, thank you to Dr. Burnett, because you did a lot of work on this as well. Dr. Carolyn Burnett, I don't know if she hears me. Thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. Okay, that's
Madam
all.
General Counsel, thank you. Can you provide clarification on the TAD IRC? I did not. I hear you.
As to the question of whether it's a board committee or an administrative committee subject to the Open Meetings Act, it is an administrative committee that is not subject to the Open Meetings Act. It works just like the Equity Advisory Committee that is also required by board policy, but the policy directs the administration to create a committee. Board members appoint people to the committee, but it is administrative in nature. That said, every single record that any committee, whether it be a board committee or an administrative committee, creates within APS, is presumed to be open to the public, so the records that they create are subject to the Open Records Act.
Thank you so much for that clarification. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 6.1A through 6.4A?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second. Board Member Erica Mitchell.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved.
Race is on.
It has been properly moved by Board Member McDonald, correct? No. Mitch, she seconded. Okay. Board Member Mitchell and seconded by Board Member Zeff. Ms. Barnett, please. Ms. Barnett, open the polls, please. Thank you. page is that? Mhm. Thank you so much. And now we will move to discussion and actions. The following items will be discussed: the final adoption of the FY 2027 budget and the superintendent's contract extension.
Absolutely. I'll take the first item.
Go right ahead.
All right. We can do it the second one. All right. So we'll be pretty excited. I know Brian is here. You won't mind me just running through the budget, will you, at all? I feel the displeasure on your face, but you are still here, so I want to make sure. And so what you have before you, we're asking the board to approve the FY27 final budget with a total appropriation of the amounts as presented. General Fund, $1.3 billion. Special Revenue, $87.1 million. SPLOST, $174.1 million. Nutrition Fund, $40.6 million. And Student Activity Fund, $4.5 million. For a total appropriation for all funds presented at $1.609 billion, $44,100. This budget mirrors the overarching theme of this year, which is getting back to the basics, being disciplined in our decisions and spending, and focused on the long-term sustainability of the district. You see $37 million that'll be invested over the next year into literacy and professional learning, as well as programs that support our instructional core. Another $10 million in professional and paraprofessionals and teachers, and direct support for exceptional education and programs. We're continuing our investment in our people. An additional $19 million being added to compensation. This is in addition to the approximately $16 million that was distributed last month by way of stipends. And then finally, we're continuing to work towards being efficient and effective with the recommended millage decrease from 20.5 mills to 20.3 mills. That will generate about $10 million in total savings for residential taxpayers.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Is there a motion to approve the FY 2027 budget?
So move, Board Member Erica Mitchell.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Brooks.
Okay. It has been properly moved by Board Member Erica Mitchell and seconded by Board Member Katie Howard. Any discussion?
One.
Yes.
No, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to this. I just wanted to applaud the team, especially our budget committee, on the hard work done here. One of my favorite lines from this wise guy named Dr. Ken Zeff is that budgets are a moral document, and it's something I'd hear him say often. And I think what we are reflecting in this budget is a continuum of hard work over the years. We're talking about 40% cuts to our central office. You're talking about revisioning our school footprint. A lot of really, really tough, hard decisions. And I think on the other side of this, we are going to be able to reap the benefits of tightening our own belt. I love that, we've got some folks from across the street in the room, especially while we're about to take this vote, because I think our understanding about what our strategic plan and vision is, the places that we want to make investments as we move forward, are key and critical to keep at front of mind as we continue having any future conversations. Our business over here is educating kids, and it's the thing that we have to be resourced and tooled to do first and best. And as we start looking at partnerships and opportunity to partnership across the city, I would encourage us to think about ways that other bodies, other entities can add value to the service that we provide in APS, because it's going to take all of us to continue making strides and to get the best outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Barnett, please open the polls. All right, thank you so much. Great job, guys. Now we will turn to the next item, which is the superintendent's contract extension. Board Member McDonald, as chair of the Accountability Commission, will you please provide a report out regarding the annual evaluation?
I am happy to do so. So, among one of our most critical responsibilities is that we ensure we have the right leadership for Atlanta Public Schools to champion for our students, for our teachers, and our families. It has been a very impactful year that we are wrapping up with Dr. Johnson at the helm, and the board is thrilled to extend his contract. Under his steady, forward-thinking leadership, APS is making significant gains. We've seen measurable gains in student literacy and math proficiency, a renewed energy in teacher recruitment and retention, and a masterfully balanced budget. These milestones have rightfully earned APS state and national recognition, a direct reflection of Dr. Johnson's calm, focused, and purposeful vision. Beyond the data, Dr. Johnson leads with an integrity that inspires us. He celebrates our wins, but never shrinks from our challenges, approaching every opportunity for growth with clear eyes and deep conviction. We are fully confident in his leadership and excited to continue this vital partnership.
Thank you, Board Member McDonald. I think I speak on behalf of all of my colleagues when I say, Dr. Johnson, the best is yet to come.
Right. Amen.
So is there a motion to extend Dr. Johnson's contract as discussed in executive session to
So moved,
May
Brooks.
30th, 2029?
Second, Erica
Let me
Mitchell.
get the year in there, 2029. Do I have a motion?
Go ahead.
I guess so. I was
Yes,
messing with Eric.
and-
Let's just wait.
Second
Let's
by-
yeah. I'll second.
Oh, well.
Oh, I gotcha.
Go ahead.
I
Jen.
gotcha.
I appreciate the enthusiasm, colleagues. It has been properly moved by Board Member Brooks and seconded by Board Member McDonald. Any discussion?
I do. Just one, just real quick, because I know time is of the essence. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Johnson, for entrusting this board. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for coming to Atlanta Public Schools. And I just got to say one thing that I hold with me since 2020. There was a superintendent named Dr. Terry Greer, a very well-known superintendent, former superintendent of Houston ISD and San Diego ISD. I never forget the first conversation I had with him. He said, you are interviewing, because he knew everybody else interviewing, but interviewing one of the brightest and best in the nation to come to Atlanta Public Schools. And I want to thank you for coming to Atlanta Public Schools. Because since you've been here, you have done everything the board has directed you to do with fidelity, with integrity, and with keeping students first. I value your leadership. I look forward to the next couple of years because, as I mentioned in joking, but we want you to be the Alonzo Crim. And you know what I mean by that. You ain't going nowhere. There's only one. But thank you, and I look forward to doing the hard work, but doing the good work on behalf of our students.
Thank you. Any other colleagues?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Johnson for your service. It has been a pleasure getting the opportunity to serve alongside of you. For myself and Ken, when we came on this board, one of the big charges for us was to end the revolving door of superintendents in the system. And I appreciate the opportunity to have longevity with you. My son is a rising 5th grader. I look forward to you handing him his diploma. No pressure. No pressure.
I see his wife in
Yes,
there.
thank
you. All right. Thank you all so much. Mr. Wilburn, Dr. Johnson.
Yeah, just real quick. First off, thank you all as a board for considering this. You hadn't voted yet, so I'm not gonna mess it up between now and the vote. But you hadn't voted yet. But I thank you all for even considering it. But the thing I will say, and these folks know I say this to them all the time, I always ask the question, who wants to be let's see if I can finish it. Who wants to be I ask them regularly. But the reality is that you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm very, very fortunate to work alongside extremely talented group of individuals that are getting stronger as a collective every day, and as a byproduct of getting stronger as a collective, students will absolutely benefit. So it's a great time to be a part of Atlanta Public Schools. If you're a parent out there, I'm a parent of Atlanta Public School student. Will be for the next 4 years. I'm start counting days. We're at the point where we'll start counting days. But I'm a proud parent of Atlanta Public School student, and it is a district that is absolutely on the rise, and literally by what Stanford and they said, but also because of where we are and because of sports leadership. We have a lot of work to do, but I'm super excited about where we are. So thank you all for the vote of confidence.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rubin, please call the roll.
Katie Howard,
Yes.
Tony Mitchell,
Absolutely.
Dr. Ken Zeff,
Enthusiastic, yes.
Miss Jennifer McDonald,
I mean, to top of these words, like yes, 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 10x.
Miss Erica Mitchell,
Yes.
Miss Patrice Hutcherson,
Yes.
Mr. Alfred Shivy Brooks,
Emphatic yes.
Dr. Casey Brock,
Absolutely.
and Miss Jessica Johnson.
Yes.
The vote has been passed unanimously. Congratulations, Dr. Johnson.
All right. Expedited resolutions. Okay. Board Member Zeff.
Yeah, so we have a few resolutions tonight that I will move through. 8.1 is SPLOST resolution. These SPLOST resolutions call for a referendum in Fulton County and DeKalb County for a vote to continue the 1% sales tax to fund the board's capital plan 2027 to 2032, as well as the issuance of general obligation debt in Fulton County to be repaid by such sales tax and use tax.
Is there a motion to approve the resolutions?
So move, Board Member Erica Mitchell.
Thank you.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been properly moved by Board Member Mitchell and second by Board Member Brooks. Any discussion?
Yes. Y'all can get mad. We get paid to be here. Like, this is really important, though. I just want to emphasize this because it could fly under the radar for a lot of people. But we heard public comment today talking about the conditions of some of our schools and how we need improvements in some of our buildings. This is what gets us there, and so we really do need Atlanta to support this. And I am very, very excited to support this because I know these are the type of investments we need to be making in our schools for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barnett, please open the polls.
I'm sorry. Let me start again. 8.2 recognizes LGBTQIA plus Pride Month. This resolution recognizes June 26th as LGBTQIA plus Pride Month and reaffirms the Atlanta Board of Education's commitment to providing safe, supportive, and inclusive learning environments for all students. Consistent with Board Policy JAA, Equal Educational Opportunities, this board affirms that every student deserves access to an educational experience free from discrimination, harassment, and exclusion. The Atlanta Board of Education remains committed to fostering school communities where all students are treated with dignity, respect, and belonging. The board supports efforts that promote student well-being, encourage positive school climate, and ensure that every student has the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive. This includes supporting student-led organizations such as Gay-Straight Alliances and similar affinity groups that provide opportunities for connection, leadership development, and peer support in accordance with district policy and applicable law.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Point of privilege.
Sorry, what?
Point of discussion, point of privilege,
We
whichever.
have to do the motion first and then.
Okay,
there's
go ahead.
So moved.
discussion. Okay.
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved by Board Member McDonald and seconded by Board Member Mitchell. Any discussion?
Yes. So I want to go on record. I know I made the recognition today that as educators, we save lives, and we want to make sure that we are all welcoming. We welcome everyone into our buildings, and we give them the support that they need. Our school counseling department had 2 ramp schools, one that was a re-ramp, which is Sutton Middle School, where Dr. Johnson's child is, and then also Humphreys Elementary School. That's 2 out of the 12 that was received over the state of Georgia. So we're doing the work. We need to give ourselves a pat on the back. I'm glad that we have this resolution, but we also want to take acknowledgement
that our professional school counseling department in Atlanta Public Schools is phenomenal, and we have phenomenal workers that are being honored for the work that they do nationally.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So we read them all and then we vote at the end.
Okay. 8.3 is Juneteenth commemoration. This resolution recognizes Juneteenth observed annually on June 19th as a day in 1865 when the last enslaved African Americans in the United States learned of their freedom following the Emancipation Proclamation. The Atlanta Board of Education acknowledges the historical and ongoing impact of slavery and recognizes Juneteenth as an opportunity to reflect on our shared commitment to justice, equity, and freedom. Therefore, the Atlanta Board of Education recognizes June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth, a day of historical, cultural, and civic significance to the Atlanta Public Schools community.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So move, Board Member Erica Mitchell.
Thank you so much.
Brooks.
All right, it's been properly moved by Board Member Mitchell and seconded by Board Member Brooks. Any discussion?
I think it's important that we notice that our vice chair took the intent to share that we need to preserve Juneteenth. It's for all colors. We need to recognize it across the board. So I'm honored that he took the lead on this to let us know that all faces need to honor the day that we celebrate Juneteenth.
Ms. Barnett, can you open the polls? Well, do you want us to do the other? There's one more. We can go ahead and do that, and then we'll just do a voice vote for them all. Go ahead.
Thank you for those kind words, Board Member Hutcherson. I appreciate that. Our last resolution is the National Caribbean American Heritage Month. I've asked Board Member Brock, Dr. Brock, to present that resolution.
As a proud Jamaican, half Jamaican, whose grandmother came to the United States to clean houses and retired as an educator, very proud to present this resolution. This resolution recognizes Caribbean American Heritage Month, established in 2006 to celebrate the rich culture, heritage, and contributions of Caribbean Americans to the United States. Throughout history, Americans of Caribbean heritage have made significant contributions across government, education, business, the arts, and public service. The Atlanta Board of Education values and celebrates the contributions of Caribbean American students, staff, families, and community members whose cultures and experiences enrich Atlanta Public Schools. Therefore, the Atlanta Board of Education recognizes June 2026 as Caribbean American Heritage Month. Also, shout out to my mom, who is she's actually here to learn about TADS today, but shout out to her.
Lucky girl.
Okay. Not yet. Is there a motion to accept the resolution?
So move, Board Member Erica Mitchell.
Okay, and second, it's been properly moved by Board Member Mitchell and seconded by Board Member Brooks. Any discussion?
I have a discussion. My daddy is here too, Reverend Dr. Matthew Hutchison II, and our families are descendants from Jamaica, which is a part of our heritage. But Daddy, thank you for being here this long tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Barnett, do you still want us to do a voice vote? Oh, no, sir. Say what now? The polls are open. Okay.
Your daddy think he about
Oh, wait. No.
Y'all play too much.
Thank you. Okay. Madam General Counsel, does the board need to report out from the executive session?
Yes, Madam Chair, the board needs to take action on one item.
No.
I request a motion that the board accept the hearing officer's findings of fact and recommendations dated May 28th, 2026, and terminate the employment of Carrie Rogers.
Okay. May I have a motion that the Atlanta Board of Education accept the hearing officer's findings and fact and recommendations dated May 28, 2026, and terminate the employment of Carrie Rogers?
So moved.
Second, Board Member Erica Mitchell.
Thank you so much. Ms. Barnett, can you open the polls?
Hello. I voted too quickly and closed it. Yes.
Okay.
All right, our last few items are information items. 10.1 is the ratification of unauthorized purchases. Item provides the board with a summary of purchases that require notification, clarification, or approval due to exceptions to standard procurement procedures. These include emergency purchases, unauthorized purchases made without following established procurement processes, and other transactions that require board awareness or action under district policy. 10.2 is the board travel report, which is a monthly report that details district-funded travel for board members and the board office, including the total year-to-date spending. 10.3 is the detailed financial report, which is a monthly report that details the revenue and expenditures of the Consolidated General Fund. 10.4 is the special revenue report, is a monthly report on grant budget adjustments and amended budgets. And 10.5 is the construction status report, a monthly report on active construction projects that are primarily funded by the voter-approved special purpose local option sales tax, otherwise known as SPEACed.
Thank you. Each of these reports can be found under your information tab in Assembly. The board will recess for the month of July, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next board meeting of the school year at the top of the new school year, Monday, August 10th of 2026. Before we adjourn, please join us in celebrating Board Vice Chair Dr. Ken Zeff, who will celebrate his birthday on June 28th, and Board Member Jennifer McDonald, who will celebrate her birthday on July 28th. Wishing you both a very special birthday. All right. Negative. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.